Oh,
Speaking of wealth,
speaking of wealth.
look at that big ace there. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And she's pretty comfortable too, the Empress. That's in the past.
Right where we were comfortable. We were connected to Earth and oh, wow.
I mean, a lot of people weren't comfortable, but I feel like that group that's been oppressing us, they've been around for a long, long time. And left to our own devices, when we don't have governing bodies that are, deep state government, we've figured out, I think there was wealth to be had in the way we were discussing it, you and I, because this card here really taps into the physical world wealth, the wealth of, so utilizing the land that's available to you, utilizing the nature, utilizing your family unit to help, grow food, hunt, whatever it was you were doing to stay, viable as a group. And I know there was lots of hardship with some of that, but I feel like a lot of that was imposed upon us because created by all of a sudden now you've got all these governing bodies imposing rules and laws, restrictions, and also telling you whose land that is and whose it isn't, taking things away from people that originally had it, moving it around, and making decisions like that for you. Also, what can you grow? What can't you grow?
Oh, totally. And taxing 2/3, more than 3/4, 80% sometimes of people's whatever it was that they produced got taxed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there seems to be a whole new. So you were asking about what's in the coming week.
Yeah.
This is interesting. We've got this Ace of Pentacles. So there's something new presented this week that could actually be financial. Okay. So a whole new financial way of doing things. This is something that's healthy. There's a health to this. So a healthier thing being initiated or presented this week. Okay. And then she is, so she waits and receives. Okay. So I don't think it's something that's already created. I feel like it's being presented. So there's a newness to an ace. There's a new way of looking at or perceiving what is wealth, first of all, and maybe even literally a new system or a new whole way of doing it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that Knight of Wands there, around it, there seems to be some, this is my good military card, but you could also talk about it as moving in a new direction fast. This guy's fast. With integrity, he's fast. He's moving in all new territory. So maybe when you read the three together, there's something new. We've been waiting for it for a while. We didn't know exactly what it would look like. She doesn't know exactly what something will look like, but she manifests and trusts she'll have it. So there's a new thing being presented that down the road becomes all new territory for us financially. So a new system financially, and it gets presented in a more official way here, but we may still have a ways to go to really understand exactly how it works. So it may not all just magically be in place. It's just, we're getting a big glimpse of it here.
And Janine, do you think some of this could actually be internal, where we're almost like remembering, or we're being like little drops of information that are reminding us or waking us up or something? Do you feel like it could be like an internal as well as a? Sometimes I feel as though the information that's coming down, just sort of like what Cliff High says about the ontology, the information that's coming down, it's just arriving right when we're ready to hear it, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, we were just chatting at the beginning here about how there used to be human ingenuity, human creativity, our natural ability to, make beautiful art and architecture, grow food, be artisans and craftspeople. Like there's just so much wealth and richness and diverse, beautiful expression of human ingenuity. And it's interesting because earlier today I was looking at some stuff, and I noticed that wealth is like a W, starts with a W, and when you invert it, it becomes an M. Like our whole focus shifted onto money and away from the energy of wealth, which is really human engineering. It's humans' creation. That is what wealth is. It's our health. It's our relationships, our families, our values. That is our wealth. And when it got turned into money, it got stolen from us.
Okay, so I'm going to put it in the context of the layout with the question that was what's coming this week. And having said that, okay, so this is how we're going to feel about it. And this is how people are going to behave in the general population. Okay, this card. And these two are what's actually around us. So one is already present. First of all, this card is representing the now. So it's already present and there's already wealth. And it's a matter of seeing it differently. So that does go to what you're saying. Seeing it differently. And when a person is spiritually ready, because she works on manifesting, and part of her spiritual path is to know she's worthy, and she attracts what she needs. And I practiced that my whole life, and I got really good at it. I got to say, it's my one area I'm really good at. She's very much that earth sign woman who's learned that she trusts that the universe will provide. And I feel like something's already present. We become more aware of it in this coming week. And it's all new territory, maybe not for all of us, because if we're already aware of it, it might not be that new or foreign. Some people are a little ahead on this, but this is talking about the general population. So they need to do their spiritual work to receive this. So the wealth is already there in place, and it feels like there's going to be spiritual work necessary for people to receive the wealth. So I actually even like, because we've got these different timelines, it feels like there's still a lot of people in fear and where they're really assuming they don't have. Okay, so I'm getting that it is in the ethers here. It's already here, present. And the people that are spiritually have done the work, they'll see it sooner than others. But we're a lot closer to the whole world having it available than I think we've been for a long time. Because those overlords, somehow their tap got cut off. I really do feel that's true. And it's now more available, generally speaking. Some of the spells must have got, dispersed. Some of they had a real spell going on for quite a while. And I feel like because so many people are onto their schemes, it's like it's now more available because they can't play their tricks anymore.
Absolutely. Crystal and I were just talking about this earlier, and it's almost like the spell is really, I do also believe that it's over, like that their power supply has been cut. However, it's like we're still living in the I was calling it like the exoskeleton is still there. Like we're still going, like the train is still going, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's the momentum that's been generated over thousands of years that they've been like running this and driving our ingenuity, driving our natural human wealth into the ground, like just destroying it. And we were talking earlier about how, I see the Queen of Pentacles, the Empress. To me, these are the matriarchs. These are like women that are like the head of the family, how we used to have our families, together and working together as a community with the children and the grandparents and the extended family and so on. We were just chatting about how all that has been stolen from us, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they literally, that was a psyop. It was a psyop to fool everybody that as a teenager or young person before, like back in the day, okay, and I'm not saying the good old days, because there was a lot of bad things about what some people call the good old days, okay, but in a natural sort of human group, okay, it might make sense to be together communally to some degree, of course with separateness, but for a while, so you've got maybe a mother father figure. And I'm saying figure because sometimes you can create that outside your natural mother father. Okay. But if you have a good, healthy base where you've got the feminine and masculine working together, because we need both those energies. Okay. And then some children around, young people, teenagers, even elders to take care of the young ones, while the two parents maybe in their 30s, 40s, 20s, 30s, 40s, I don't know, right? So they're sort of gathering what's needed to create the home front. Mm-hmm. So they're hunter gathering, they're growing food, they're building the house, all of those things would be wealth. It's wealth to know how to build, to know how to put in electricity in your house. It's wealth. Here on the Haida Gwaii, your biggest asset, if you know anything about plumbing, oh my goodness, okay, you're like a hero. And if you'll actually do the work and show up when you say you're going to, you'll be like absolutely honored in the community, okay? like people with degrees, okay, aren't that interesting or important, frankly, because we're growing our own food, we're trying to build houses here. We want electricians, we want somebody who knows how to build, we want somebody who knows how to fix things, okay, because it's hard to get to the mainland. Fixing cars, you'd be like a hero. Oh, you know how to fix cars? Seriously? Okay, we need you. Okay, you know what I mean? Oh, you got a something degree.
And look at how all of that got inverted, right? And like artists too, like artists used to be highly valued. Artisans, tradespeople, craftspeople, like all the people that not only produce the things that we need to live, but made the world a beautiful place, beautiful architecture. Look at the things that have been produced in times past here on earth, and what a sad state of affairs that we're just so much was like basically pulled out from under us because of all these artificial systems, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and you were talking about, Janine, especially within the family grouping, that people were encouraged to leave home and not go back, right? Like when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm. And why do you think they did that? Think about what the government would gain or the deep state government. Okay, so the Khazarian mafia, that bunch, the bankers. Okay, so now they've got a family that was a family paying maybe one or two people paying taxes. Now they got everybody dispersed and they're all paying taxes. They're all trying to get a household together because you were told it's way cooler to have your own little dumpy apartment, when you're 17, 18, 19, okay, or live with 3 or 4 friends who are all trying to scrape together rent. But now all of those people are paying rent to somebody, a landlord. And say my parents had 7 kids. Every one of us left home, and it was cool to do. And in fact, our parents encouraged us to leave home. We got a set of suitcases at age 16. Okay, so 16, we're leaving. 17, I was out of the house. And now I was trying to go to art college and pay rent. So working on the weekends. And so now I'm doing, I'm trying to get some kind of a degree in art, and I'm trying to do what I really love to do. But I was waitressing, bartending, and that doesn't really go too great together with trying to get your art project done. There's a lot going on at an art college, so that didn't get far. Do you know what I mean? So I'm taking out student loans, and just think about everybody now is paying taxes, paying rent, paying, so they like quadrupled, they like multiplied, they being the tax collectors and the gangster bankers. Now they've got all of these people that normally would have stayed together as a family unit. You would have had the grandparents looking after the young kids. Okay. And they would have created a whole different atmosphere. But we were told it wasn't cool. Music told us that wasn't cool. You all had to live separately, and whatever you do, don't like your parents or whatever. It's a psyop. We were psyoped into it. It was all by design.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And like, and culture, healthier versions of culture stolen by, and like you said, Janine, this didn't just happen in the latest version of it is like post-war, right? It was like they sold us that American pie dream, which is we're all going to have our own house with our own picket fence and so on and so on. And it's like, you were shamed if you wanted to go against that. And then same with the women's rights movement. It's like, the beautiful concept of honoring the feminine and bringing balance back into equality, back into our relationships and who has power and who has value. It got turned into a, women do everything thing movement, right?
It was hilarious. And also hating the masculine. So there's divine masculine. Of course, there's men that were abusing the privilege. Absolutely. But there's also the feminine that abuses the privilege. Like, it goes both ways. But they preyed on those fears and those insecurities and created a whole movement where now we've got all of these just man hating, in particular white man hating, which the trend towards just hating white people is just absurd. It's just another way that they're tricking us. Okay. Yeah. It's like almost everybody in my family. So we've got Indigenous, and I've got a son who's half Caribbean. I've got a daughter with a Bulgarian guy. Okay. So I got a blonde daughter. I got a dark-skinned son. I got, like, our family's all mixed, and I like it that way. Thank you very much. I absolutely don't see the world in, separating the cultures and keeping everything separate. So to hate, white hate, black hate, any kind of hate is absurd to me. Because we got like so many people look into your background. If you're white hating on your own relatives, you're black hating on your relatives, you're black. Are you kidding me? It's absurd. It doesn't make any sense. So it's absolutely like we've outgrown that. If somebody's still fallen for those psyops to hate each other over colors, race, okay, that's just not where we need to look at people's more values and how they're behaving towards each other. That's what I'm gonna what I'm gonna call a good person is someone who treats others well. Like, none of those other things count to me. I don't care what you tell me about where they're coming from. How do they treat others? I'm gonna watch them. Does it feel to be around them? Am I being respected, or are they self-respecting? And that's what I'm looking for now. I'm not looking at any of those things, those other things.
Janine, will you pull some cards on like kind of where we're at with outgrowing these psyops? Because, it feels, for me, I feel like even though I'm aware of so many of these things, I'm not aware of how they still somehow seep into my consciousness, like I'm not, like sometimes I find myself like I don't see something. I don't recognize something until long after the fact. I'm like, why didn't I see that earlier? Like, why didn't I see that coming? So like, where are we at? I'm just curious about where your cards are showing that we are at in terms of, especially our community, right? Where are we at in terms of waking up to not only, reject these psyops and like you say, grow up beyond them, but also to, and outgrow them, but also to not get pulled back into them. Yeah.
So we've got the magician. So we definitely have a lot of. We're still dealing with a lot of trickery and falling for it. And we've got the hanged man. It's going to take time and putting ourselves in the difficult position of really looking at things deeply and taking our time and not being in a hurry, because, like, don't assume, you've let go of all of that. We're just, I think, at the beginning of just figuring out just how tricked we've been.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So here we've got the Four of Swords. So there's so much, some things we don't even recognize, even this community. There's some things that are so hidden, we don't even see it yet. Even the way, like, I'm sure there's so much to know about treatment of animals, like intelligence of animals, like stuff we've been, like, just layers and layers and layers of what it is to be a human here. Okay, so here we've got the Page of Pentacles up at the top. Like, sometimes I wonder about pets. So it's okay for us to completely keep our pets contained. And yeah, I get we live in cities, and so, but it's hard for me to even get my mind around having a dog. And that's just scratching the surface. I'm just scratching the surface, but because I know dogs love their owners and everything, but it feels like they'd be too contained in a city. I don't want them on a leash. That doesn't feel right to me. Like, that's why I've always stuck to cats. We now, my roommate has a dog. I love Cedric. He's awesome. He loves to have a job to do, but the more freedom that guy's given, and we had to at first, like, he wasn't brought up with freedom. He was first actually tied up for years, and then my friend rescued him, and it's taken him a while because he'd dart and run away, and like just treatment of animals, and like because we want them to also have kind of. I don't like the idea that they're my pet, and I know that sounds weird.
Yeah.
I just want them part of the family, but at the same time, I'm struggling with that. Like, we have so much to undo. It's like, is it even ethical to be having them? Like, but then they love you so much; they're part of your family. They teach you. They're big teachers, obviously. Pets, what we call pets. But I think we'll evolve into all of this. I don't think we have to do it overnight. The first thing I notice about this bottom row is not to just give it all up because it seems like too much work. Surrender to, we got lots. We're just barely getting to know what's been done. We have so much, and I'm not speaking for every person listening, but just generally, I'm generalizing. We asked about the community, we're generalizing, but see that we have so much further to go, but don't get overwhelmed and give up, because this card gives up. Because it's too much. Like, just take it one little step at a time, and sort of rejoice in all of the new things you're learning instead of feeling overwhelmed with how much more you have to do. It's like, love yourself enough to realize we're all on this journey, and we're undoing stuff that was done to us. We didn't, like, as long as you go forward, your intention is to be the best person in that moment with what you have to work with. You can be. That's all you can do, right? That's all you can do. So not to get overwhelmed or be too judgmental, but we're just at the beginning of that.
Undo it. And I really hear what you're saying about you. There's a lot of comments about the pets. When you spoke about that, it touches a deep heartstring for a lot of people. You and I both as well, right? We've had pets. We had a house with cats in it, and it's like it is what I'm hearing you say, though, is it's like, and kind of what I was referring to is we recognize it's seeped into everything. like this kind of, again, I want to say stealing from the wealth of the, like, there's probably a lot better ways that we can be in relationship with our pets, with animals and nature and all of it, right? With land and with ownership and with value of and everyone having like their sovereign autonomy. And so I feel like it's a long journey to sort of unravel all of this conditioning. And that's where I was saying that I realize sometimes I'm doing it, but I don't even know I'm doing it. And I get discouraged by that. But I feel like what you're saying and what the cards are showing is not to give up, not to get discouraged. That, it always seems daunting at the beginning of a journey like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I really also am really excited that we are at the end of the Kali Yuga phase. It's going to get brighter each day, just like when you get past, the winter solstice and finally the sun gets a little bit, the days get a little longer, it's going to get a little brighter. We're going in the right direction. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So I just pulled two more while you were talking because I just wanted a little more information, and see the judgment card here. So I feel like we'll get to different plateaus that are really revealing, and then we need to just sit with them for a little while. Okay, because you don't want to toss everything out, right? So the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing. We need to just sit with it and get to a place where we feel comfortable with that place, and then now add some more knowledge onto that, or dig some more a little deeper, or like, because you don't want to take this has to be a slow process. We have to feel intuitively with every step we do, and just spiritually catch up to it, instead of verbally assuming the position of, oh, we have to be like this because somebody told some truth or said that. Well, no, go at your own pace, and that truth, or whoever might have said it, whatever they said, they're actually just a human who happened to get on YouTube and called themselves a truther, but we're all just on the journey together. We're all on the path together. We're not necessarily wiser. In fact, a lot of my fantastic ideas come from people on the Tarot by Janine website. Like, they'll write me and tell me these great, and I go, whoa, I hadn't even thought of that. I just happen to be an outgoing person who loves to get, like, verbal about stuff and share what I know. So that's my personality. But there's so many of us in this community that are teachers and have really valuable things to share, right?
Totally. I mean, I'm so impressed and amazed with our community, all the people that I've done readings for over the years, and talk about wealth in terms of skills and imagination, creativity, special healing abilities, and incredible vision and patience and diligence. Like, it's just off the charts. And to me, this is so encouraging to see us finally getting to a place where we are, like you said, we're stopping. We can't rush this process because there's a lot of rebuilding that needs to happen, right? We can't have the old completely crashing down. I was saying earlier, like, if we just blow everything to smithereens, we're going to be standing in a pile of rubble. Like, probably better to deconstruct the old piece by piece and use it to build something new, right? Like, use some of that to build something new instead of just blowing it up.
Can I just give an example? Like, because that is so true. Okay, so my friend took what everyone else would have ripped down. So next to where I live, there's this thing, and it looked literally like a ripped down, probably a workshop. It was a workshop. Hadn't been used in years. It was dark and dingy, but a really cool shape. Okay. And so her and I set to the task of finding the right people to rebuild this thing, somebody that would actually utilize what was already there instead of ripping it down. And we chose a group of Mennonites to do it. And because we just had a feeling, because we looked at their places and they reuse stuff. And they're solid builders. So we're like, okay. Totally like we reused windows, we repurposed this and that. We being, I'm saying the royal we, but she did a lot of the choosing the things, and the Mennonites did the actual work. And they were yes people in a way that they didn't just go, no, we can't do that, like a lot of other contractors would do. They were like, yeah, we could try that for you, So there was rot at the bottom of the building, but it was sitting on good cement. So instead of ripping the whole thing down, they literally cut that much, maybe that much. There was that much rot at the very bottom. They cut this much off, braced the whole thing, and then replaced it with other pieces of wood just right up under it.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like getting the rot out of the all of our systems, right?
Get that rot out of there. Right. So instead of ripping the whole thing down and having to start from scratch, they literally piece by piece held things up, in a safe way, and then went in and took out the rot and replaced it. And we have, and I'm going to have to show pictures of this building. I mean, it's spectacular. Like, I mean, it's humble, but I mean, it's fantastic. It's like a studio, her apartment. Like it's the best thing ever. And it's done largely with, stuff that was going to be thrown away just the whole building was going to get taken down probably if it wasn't for her, who said, no, that's going to be a house studio.
I mean, it's such an analogy for life, and even that we can reuse things and rebuild our whole society, our whole system, and make it beautiful. It doesn't just have to be functional. To me, we want to bring the beauty of human ingenuity back, the beautiful, somebody was speaking about the Tatarian architecture and all the things that we're capable of, like let's return to like an artist's expression of human ingenuity and make this world not just functional, not just make America great or make North America great again. Let's make it beautiful. Yeah. Let's make it like thriving beautiful, right? So I'm always like, let's not just lower our sights to some sort of small version of what we are. Because if you ever notice in life, often when we get pulled down to the bottom of the barrel, it's just before we're going to get launched right out of that barrel into a whole new reality, right? I think we're being pulled back to such, sort of low grade reality to give us the incentive to not just go back to where we were, let's say in the, 60s and 70s or something, but to like go way beyond what we have been in, historical memory, go into a much greater version of humanity. And so I think some of it being really yucky is for us to go, yeah, we got a long ways to go, and let's not just stop at getting through this, right? Someone here has put a comment up. We were speaking earlier about the feminist movement, and there's a question here. Would you be willing to pull cards on this, Janine? This is the CIA Khazarian Zionist Mafia used Gloria Steinem to ruin the divine feminine. Ms. Magazine published push young women to get a career over their men.
Mm-hmm. And the basis of some of this is where it got really tricky for people, because the basis is there are some women that absolutely thrive in their careers. and should never be told they can't have them. Like we should, you know what I mean? But there's probably a different way to do it where you don't sweep up everybody and disrespect those who that they aren't interested in that because they're homemakers and they want to create a really comfortable home for themselves and their families, which by the way is incredibly valuable. I'm hard pressed to like to cook on a daily, and right now having this roommate while her home is being built, cooking and keep it, like she's amazing. I mean, she doesn't have to, but she just likes to do it. And when she feels like it, it's like heaven for me because that's her creative flow. And it's like, wow. And, whoever in the relationship wants to be somebody that creates a home base, as far as I'm concerned, that is so valuable. It's as valuable in every way as whatever I'm contributing. You know what I'm saying? Like that just needed to get sorted out between couples. But they came in and swept in and told all women that they all had to get somebody looking after their kids and get out there. Otherwise, they basically shamed people into.
Totally.
And some took to it naturally, and that's great, but a whole bunch didn't per se. And then also like there was probably a way to improve. Like a lot of women might have felt stuck if they weren't the type. Say I wasn't the type, and in the 50s or 40s, I'm married now. I got to cook every day. I'm going to be bored. Like I'd be so happy to someone tell me, no, you better go out and do what you love to do. So there was a way to look at things, but they took that goodness. That's always what they do, and then really used it against people because there was probably a way to improve things, but the way they did it wasn't the way to do it.
Look at this. There's comments coming in like crazy. We are from this generation, right? In high school, they asked me what career I was choosing. I said wife and mother, and they laughed and said, you can't be that. Right. And yeah, another one. I was criticized for making that choice when my kids were young.
My mom was criticized for breastfeeding her children. So she was shamed in the 50s and 60s and 70s out of nursing her babies and told she had to use formula. So she only breastfed the first two. She had 7 kids. I didn't get breastfed. None of the other ones did. I was the third. And she was shamed out of it, she said. So there you go.
Well, and I think the other thing was if you were going to do that, you were considered like, well, I don't know what you've heard and perceived, but I perceived that it was you did that because you weren't smart enough or good enough to do something else, right?
Yep.
So you really felt like you had to choose. It was like, well, I'm either going to be seen as educated. It's like, are you kidding? What about both? What about you do this and then you have a period of time where you get educated? Maybe you get support to do a bit of both, but I'm not talking about being a superwoman. I'm talking about, there needs to be value across the board for all these things, right? And I think we're getting back to having a full system. When a full society is there, there's children. Oh, did I get cut out for a sec? There's enough people to look after the children that, everybody gets to do some self-development, education, career development, artistic development, and they also get to raise a family.
Now, how did you ask the question? I got the cards laid out. I just can't remember.
So I'm going to go back to where she asked here. She was saying, let me just go back. This was about how Gloria Steinem was used by the Khazarian mafia to basically destroy the family.
Yep. And it was a way to get to the kids. So
Mm.
the ultimate goal was a fast way to, yeah, and it was absolutely to put an end, so kill that the family. But really, the ultimate goal was to get to the kids. Okay, so they break it down so nobody's really watching the kids, and also like your okay, so the nat now this is natural human behavior. Okay, so as soon as I became a mom, and some people are going to not like me saying this, but I'm just going to be honest. My natural instinct as a human biological female was to put a lot of my own things aside, at least for some years, to focus intently on making sure my kids got what they needed, one at a time. Like they were 12 years apart, but so I had one and then the other. So it was like having two kids, but so many years apart. So it was like being a single mom twice over. Because anyway, long story. And I even put like, because I knew what I was like when I paint. I love to paint and I get obsessed. And you can see, even as a truther, I'm a little obsessive and obsessed, right? About stuff I am fascinated in, whatever. That's my personality. And I knew that, okay, I have this child now. I have to put that aside. I just knew what I'm like. Okay, this isn't everybody, because I can't multitask being a painter full time, certainly not. And dabbling is too boring for me. I'm an all or nothing human. So I knew that the first like 5 years at least of my children's lives, and with my son, it was even more. I just had a feeling, and I intuitively knew my daughter for sure couldn't be in daycare. I just knew. So I made sure that my lifestyle was such, and even though it was because of that, poor by anyone else's standards, because I chose not to work while raising Raven, but I was on my own by the time she was one. My choice, by the way.
Yeah.
Her dad didn't want to leave. That was me. But so anyway, so I chose to really, really just focus on her and her upbringing and not do a career, and or in my case it would have been painting full time or reading cards full. So I did very periodically and just made enough to survive, and also accepted some government money for a few years there, which now I would never do. But I just want to be honest about myself. That's what I did. And, it was an experience. It was horrifying because they make you jump the hoops, like for a whole $350 a month that I got. It's like, man, the hoops I had to jump is like, I'll never do that again. But anyway, it taught me a lot about government and what, where they want to keep you. But anyway, I was living like a poor hippie in the Haida at that time, but it was some of the best years of my life because I could totally focus on her. And as a mother and a parent, I knew that was what she needed, and it was okay. It didn't diminish me, and I knew I could get back to that. Like as a parent, you decide once you actually it's a spiritual thing. You have to be good with your kid. You can't but what they do is they psyop you into saying you have to focus only on your own career and your own self, so the kids get secondary. So you go and have the kids, but they're like some secondary thing. They get put in daycare, somebody else is raising them, and only you and your partner's stuff counts. Like sometimes that seems like the message. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe way off base there, but I've seen out there.
I really resonate with when you said that they were trying to get to the kids and create a generation that, if you think about it, what was introduced next to those kids was all this technology.
Yeah.
So you get these kids that don't have parents that are present, and then you introduce all this devices to just babysit them and keep them distracted. And I think you're right. I think this was the order of the way things got released. I personally believe that a lot of the technology to create the internet was around way before it was launched.
Yeah.
I think it was launched very specifically in order to have this effect. First television, then the women's liberation movement, divide the families, then get all the women out to work, get everybody putting their kids in daycare and feeling like this is how you get your rights as a woman. So it was all wrapped up in one ball, right? It's like, yeah, we want rights. We want equal recognition for the value of every contribution we make. We want, if we are doing the same job as a man, we want to be paid equally for it. We want to be recognized and have autonomy to make choices and be considered valuable. But maybe we don't want to go to work and put our kids in daycare. But that wasn't, you had to go, you were either on this bandwagon or that one. You were either like,
Because by the way, like my mom had 7 kids, and I know that's a lot by today's standards, but she got laughed at by women just in the workforce. Like she got ridiculed because she was a stay-home mom. I mean, like she's not working all day. My mom got up before anyone else and was the last one to go to bed. I've never seen anyone work harder in my entire life. I had some issues with my mom, but no one could ever say she wasn't the most dedicated in creating a comfortable home as best as possible with what she had to work with. Man, she had to like jump hoops just to work with the kind of groceries we could afford with my dad's income, the kind of groceries, and like just really she would budget and made all her own curtains and made all her own, she made grad dresses for everybody. And she took the time to make really nice ones and ask you what you wanted and take you shopping and like let you pick out your fabric. Like I'd feel like crying. She worked so hard.
Right? Yeah, totally. Listen to this. This person, Miri707 is saying, I chose to be a stay-home mom in the 1980s. I breastfed all 3 of my kids. It was quite lonely because all the other women I knew had full-time jobs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, so here is an example, folks. We're having a look here to see just what happened as a result of that. And like I said, the way things got released in this very strategic way post World War II, right? First you sell the American dream, then you bring the television in. Well, first you get everybody in their own little kingdom with their own little houses. Everybody's got their picket fence and their lawn and their this and that, and they feel like kings in their own little castle, but they're all separate. We're all separated. Yep. Right? And individuation, like we all worked hard for this and we deserve to have it. And then you bring in television and now everybody's kind of hypnotized. Then you add the women's liberation movement and then you put all the women to work, kids in daycare.
Yep.
And then you start adding in technology and we're hooped.
Yeah, you isolated everybody. You took the grandparents out of the conversation, got them in old folks' homes as soon as you could. Okay, and see that? So they were taking away that family dynamic, right? So the grandparents and the young ones in lots of communities are the ones looking after the babies while the mom's doing other things and maybe even taking some time for herself every once in a while, which, by the way, my mom I never remember her doing any of that until later. Okay. And so, yeah, it's like until the kids all moved out. So it's like, oh my goodness, like if she would have if we did it, like if we went back to a more, okay, I'll be honest, I'm creating now a whole different dynamic that a lot of people might not. I'm an auntie to a lot of, so friends of mine, my really good friends here on Haida Gwaii, their children are my nieces and nephews. So even if they're not technically, I consider them my nieces and nephews. And I also have lots of nieces and nephews, technically, literally. Okay, so I've created a family. And we're living in a way where we've encouraged a young couple to put their bus on. So they're trying to save money. They're getting married. I consider that the girl to be my niece. So and her fella. And they need to save up for their own place. So we got them living close to us on a bus. So we're lending them like a bathroom in a cabin close to us. Like we're literally living what feels like a commune. Okay, it's like, so we've got, but they're helping us because the young woman loves to garden. So she's helping Allison garden because I don't garden, and there's this big garden opportunity, which would otherwise be wasted. This garden this lady worked on for years, and now we have access to it. So, it's like somebody needed to garden that. I'm not the gardener. So what do? You invite people to live close to you who also garden, so they get to share in the garden. Okay, I'm trying to entice my daughter and her husband if they want to come out. We'll share some land with them. They can build a house. We're trying to create that to be a possibility. So my friend and I, we are not a lesbian couple, but we love each other. We're really good friends. And we don't see ourselves getting involved in lover type relationships at this point in our life. As far as we could see, we don't see it. So we're trying to help each other by being good roommates to each other, and almost like being good wives to each other. Or husbands, or whatever we're doing. There's new ways to do things now, and I think we're going to go forward. We don't have to go backwards into, because that'll probably be hard to all of a sudden make everybody's family get along, because they really did a good job of blowing that up. That's what these cards say. They purposely did that to get to the kids.
Well,
okay, the big thing.
Look at that. Yeah.
Also, the balloons. Also to separate and get everybody. So the plan was to get everybody isolated and alone. Isolated and alone.
Okay, you're absolutely right.
Now, right, I'm 64, and I'm going to need these young people around me, and they're going to need me because I make more money than they do. Okay, so I'm helping them buy cars, and I'm helping them, and they're helping me to do, and it's awesome, right? We're going to make it work.
Well, and I think, people hearing all of this, our double rant here, are like, oh, what do we do? How do we turn this around? And it's like, yeah, we just go back through the door we came out, right? Like we just start, and as you're saying, but we can't really go back and do it exactly the old fashioned way. And maybe there was some things about that weren't great either, but we just bring back the parts that we really would love to have, like I'm also getting creative and weaving my life in with my children's lives and creating more kind of communal with my neighbors and sharing and bartering and all of that sort of stuff. And I think that a lot of us remember like what our grandparents, how they used to organize themselves and, help their neighbors out, and just changing this. We've got the power to dial this back, the harmful effects of this. And I think our generation, it's the incentive to do that, because the younger ones, they never even ever experienced what we did. So it's like we can reverse this before it gets too much further along. I just wanted to bring forward this comment about the tax system required 2 incomes, nothing to do with feminism. I mean, I think it was both. I really feel that's a great comment, though. Thank you, Timberat88. And also Timberat is saying that their mom didn't like being a stay-home mom. They wanted to be a doctor and gave up their career to be a mom. It's individual. And I think that's exactly what we're trying to say. It is very individual, and we do want a world where people can have those choices, but we also get to be creative about how we live, how we function. And this whole, the tax system, we're back to the conversation that goes along with this new moon in Taurus energy, which is taking back wealth, reversing the money spell when we turned wealth, which is all of us thriving and all the ingenuity and creativity and like family values and share, working together, teamwork, working as a group in, a small village. Like they say, it takes a village to raise a child. When we live like that, we have true wealth. And they inverted that wealth, the W, and made money the God. And that has just separated us. So I really think this new moon in Taurus is about us reclaiming, starting to get the idea that we are going to let that go, that money is the God thing. And that includes this, how they've hijacked us and stole our wealth with the tax system. So maybe pull a last couple of cards, Janine, on, I know we've looked at the tax system before, but it kind of ties in, I think, with this. And just how we can shift away from that. What are some ways that we can shift away from that? And how soon could we see this happening? Here, I'm going to put the cards up there again.
So the big important thing is information sharing. So the more people that know how the taxes even came about and agree to it, when you look at it, you're taxed about 15 ways on it, the dollar, every single dollar. It doesn't make any sense. It's like unbelievable robbery. It literally is. Anyway, so the more people that understand that, okay, and don't just blindly, well, 2 people have to be taxed in the household. Why? Why are we agreeing to any taxes at all once you get taxed already on stuff out there? So you go buy things, you're taxed on them. You buy something new, you're taxed on it. You sell it, you get taxed on that. You get taxed on the dollars you made from something you already paid for that was taxed. Now you're selling it to somebody else. You get taxed. Oh, they get taxed because they just bought your car, and they get taxed for the black book price of the car. Who's that middle person getting all the taxes? Do you know what I mean? You got to wonder, it's not just okay to say okay to that. Okay. But so we have to talk about it and realize where's all those tax dollars going? Because they're not going into your streets like you think they are. Okay. There might be some way that they tax you that does happen, but they say the more people that look into this and do the deep dives, they say it doesn't go. It often goes out of your country even, okay, of origin, and often goes to, guess who? Who? The 13 bloodline families.
Exactly.
Okay? That's who's sitting there just laughing all the way to the bank there.
My daughter, Crystal, had a great idea about this, Janine. She said, how about we say, sure, I'll pay what I owe in tax, but I don't want to give it to you, a central dominant system that's going to put it where you think it should go. I want you to give me a list of, let's say 500 local places that I could take it, and I'll choose where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take it right to them and give it right to them, hand it right to them. If it's this school or that roadworks company or whatever it is, I will go right to them and put it in their little hands. How about that? I'm happy to pay taxes. I want to directly take it to the places that I value and that I use, right?
Let's not call it taxes either. I got a feeling there's really bad karma on that word because it's just been a pillage.
Yeah.
Okay, see the justice card in the middle? So karmic and just. So it's karmic and just that we're waking up to this finally. And that was what they were afraid of the most, was us waking up to it. Our fears kept us from even looking here. And that's their greatest thing. That's the dog, by the way, walking in front of my table. Anyway, so their greatest fear is that we even knew anything about this and figured this out. Okay, so that's their greatest fear. Okay, the near future is we're going to become sovereign. So we're already on the way, and I feel like a lot of people are going to start challenging this system in a really big way. And I got that even a year ago. I got this year in particular is the big start where I'd say a very large part of the population just challenges it.
They can't afford it. They can't.
They just say, nah. We're not doing that. We challenge it. Okay, so now we've got the 9 of Pentacles, which is she is less. So we're on our way to being less. We're even closer than we think we. A lot of people don't even know how close we are to being truly where they can't get their hands on all of our income, et cetera, taxing our properties once we pay for them in full. Like now they're in Canada, they're trying to find a way to, once you even pay for your property on top of it, there's some extra taxes they want to, dip into. Because you're wealthy because you own a property. It's like, hello, you could have taken 25 years to pay for that, and you earned it to not have to be gouged any more than you already were. Anyway, so here we've got the 4. So there's things already in place. It's going to take time, but we're moving in this direction. And the more information sharing, the better.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And I agree. I actually have also been seeing that. And I think the rate of non-compliance is way higher than they let on.
Yep.
When I look at that, I think we're somewhere, but let's just say Canada, probably North America, we're at 40% non-compliance right now. That's what I'm seeing. I think it's way more than it's, we're not hearing that. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of people that are, just look in the chats, how many people in our community are saying, yep, I'm not paying. I haven't been paying. A lot of people I meet have been telling me that, especially over the last 2 or 3 years, since the big pandemic fiasco. People are like, wait a minute, what the heck is going on here? And, just let's wait and see what happens. Oh, yeah, Digibene is saying someone's been saying 60% non-compliance. So
they literally, owe us, really. Think about it.
Oh, so, yeah.
So much. Like, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that I'm not giving advice to do or not do, because that's, we're in a position at this point in the world right now where, that wouldn't be a cool thing to give advice like that still, especially on YouTube and places like that. So that's not what I'm doing, but we're just reading the cards on these things. And I'm looking at what you were just talking about, Shella, just now on numbers here. And I'm going to go with 70 with that, where people are mostly, they're just waiting and seeing, going, okay, we'll just see what happens.
Wow. Yeah. So, just ask around. Just ask around, folks. And, people can't even afford living, let alone keeping up their lifestyle. And it's interesting. And brings us up to the close of the hour here. Boy, this went by quickly. So much fun hanging out with all of you and sharing and looking at things with Janine. So let me just put us back into this.
Meg, quite a few things I want to talk to you about here tonight. We're going to do the Beyond the News, similar to what we normally do, guys. Instead of the tarot, although Meg can pull some cards also. Which cards do you want to use? What deck do you want to use tonight if you're doing
I've got this new deck I'm obsessed with called the Meaning Tarot, which is really helping me develop my... Oh, it's not closing in.
It's not zooming in there.
It's this really cool tarot deck that gives you like the meaning of the cards on there. It should... Why is it not
zooming in?
Okay, now it's zooming in.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, so I've got some tarot, I've got some Lenormand, I've got all kinds of cards over here, JC. So we're good.
We're good to go on the cards front, and of course, we're going to be really good to go on the astrology. Lots of that to talk about here tonight too. Lots of crazy energies. Let me start there. Starting this last Sunday, I remember Monday morning, I called Janine. I'm like, "Holy fuck! Did you sleep last night?" And she says, "No." It's like I was having the sweats. I was having the weird like panic attacks or dread feelings, and I come to learn also that Clefai was doing the same thing too. And then here again on election night on Tuesday, I thought, oh, maybe it's the election we're feeling. But then again, we had friends from around the world having that same kind of weird reaction. So it had nothing to do with the Canadian election. So there's something out there. And now I went back, and a few people sent me on the TBJ chat and on our email forum posters of the Schumann resonance for that day, for the last couple of days, and it was just like through the roof. So first, let me ask you guys in the live chat, have you been feeling all this weird erratic energy? If so, let us know what your symptoms are in the live chat. But Meg, have you been feeling these weird energies the last couple of days too? How are you dealing with that?
You know, I haven't been having any anxiety like you're describing, or the feelings of dread, but I got this head cold out of nowhere. And usually I don't get sick. I don't get sick that often. And usually if I get something, my body, just my whole life, I've just naturally kicked things like within a couple days. Yeah. But this was sticking, and it like completely took my voice away and was very intense. So that's interesting. Physically, I'm being affected. But I also, and I think I shared this with you, JC, the other day, that I'm feeling like there's some really trippy things going on in the election. We're probably going to talk about that, where there are positive developments for humanity happening that seem scary, like things may not be going right in a certain direction, but is actually the best possible thing that could be happening. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm feeling psychically that there's major attacks going on from a different faction, from a different force. I'm really noticing the whole past week when I'm around people that are really in the normie land or even had some experimental shots, I'm feeling energetically like, and this may be scary, I'm sorry you guys, but I'm feeling psychically that there's frequencies coming from, I don't know what it is, but it's affecting how they're operating, how they're believing in things, how they're seeing things, basically controlling them, which isn't news. I know many people have said that before, but I've actually been feeling it real time psychically. And I'm finding it really hard to be around certain people like that. So I've been noticing that this past week. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. I was having that exact conversation with Sarah, but I got to ask you, is it them that's reacting to these energies, or are we, the people who are not, the normies who are more awake, just having very, very little to zero tolerance for them now, maybe more than before? Or is it a combination of both? What do you think?
I think it's a combination of both, but also like really noticing it viscerally, what's going on with them energetically, which is intense as an empath, because you just don't want to be around that, because it's black magic. It's black magic energy.
It's weird too, because, okay, so we went to the restaurant the other night. We were with friends. Some of them had invited some more normies in there too. And I was like looking in the room, and Sarah says, oh, it's kind of like we're sitting with zombies. Like it looked or felt different. Like they were just like off. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm totally with you. In the last couple of days, it seemed apparent. So that could be still the Schumann resonance that's tweaking their field, tweaking our field, all of the above. But it's kind of weird. Everybody's saying, hey, JC, we miss you. I've been around. But I also had a cold, and Meg was filling in for me last week. It's funny, too, as you say that, I'm never sick. Like, guys, I've been on screen here every day, sometimes 2 times a day for years. I almost am never sick, knock on wood. But just coming back from Florida, I've had this head cold ever since, and it's nagging. I'm almost out of it, but it's been nagging. Some people send me a whole bunch of different remedies and all that. I thank you guys for the emails and all that. People are thinking about maybe 5G, maybe affecting me more than I thought while I was there. Who knows? There might have been a 5G tower right below my hotel room. Who knows, right? I'm not used to that. I live in the country, so could be that. Could be the pollen. I don't know. But it's odd for me to be sick and off weather as well. So I don't know. Maybe we're all purging something here. Well, great to have you back, Meg. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's talk about, so when you did the shows during the week I had off, you talked about this Mars-Pluto conjunction and how that was going to be stirring a lot of these energies. And maybe that has something to do with what we're seeing in the normie land. Definitely has something to do with what we're seeing in politics, in the world of politics and war right now. So can you bring up a chart and let's kind of revisit that a little bit to see how that energy was starting to manifest, and then maybe take it from there and go like, okay, what do we see from now until next week in terms of the energies here?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So this is a chart for actually this moment right now as we're speaking. And we've got Mars in a direct opposition to Pluto. Now, it's no longer exact. We had this exact Mars-Pluto opposition on April 26th, the day before the Canadian election. Very, very
Right.
interesting. And this is our last week. So from today, May 1st, as we're filming, going until May 8th, our last week, where we're in the energy of this Mars-Pluto opposition that we've actually been in the orb of influence of on and off since October. Okay. So since October, we've had 3 exact Mars-Pluto oppositions. Mars and Pluto are 2 of the malefic planets. So they're 2 of the bad guys, the villains, if you will. And oppositions are adverse aspects. So it's a very challenging point of tension with 2 malefic planets. There's great challenge and adversity that can come, but there's also positive, empowering potential as well. I feel like the positive of Mars and Pluto is it's showing us where to direct our energy, because both these planets do have a lot to do with our energy, our life force. If we direct our energy in empowering ways, it can amplify that. But
Right.
then on the other side, if we put our energy in self-destructive ways, which this is the hard part about it, JC, Pluto rules our shadow side. Pluto rules self-sabotage. Pluto rules the parts of us that just go, fuck it, I'm just going to do that thing that I know that's not good for me, you know. So we can actually be more prone to those things during these times, which I've been hearing a lot of people saying too. Just screw it. I'm not going to do my practice. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to, you know, whatever. There's so much going on, right? So it's critical during these times to be in some form of self-care discipline. And even when we're out of the Mars-Pluto opposition, I'm just feeling to say this intuitively in general, because that keeps us strong energetically. And that's going to keep us being able to, yes, there will be normies around us. And I feel like we're getting even more psychically sensitive to the truth of what's really going on, which at times can be scary, right? I don't know about you, JC, but if you can read somebody really for who they are walking down the street, sometimes that's scary.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And, you know, just on that note, let me bring this up also, guys. If you haven't seen part 3 of the emerging, so it's emerging now, part 3, and then part 2, because he did that in 2 parts. But the part 3 is what I'm talking about here. He was talking about how the ontology or universe or universal consciousness is now in the process of revealing itself to us through the forms of the qualia, whatever he calls them, like hints, or when the universe is talking to you. So universe is talking to you through the astrology, you're seeing the alignments, you're getting a feedback from it. The tarot readers, the same thing. People who are psychic, the same thing. And what he's saying is that these energies are just increasing. So what we're seeing now in terms of secrets reveal is about to explode in a big way. And this is exactly what the powers that be fear. That what you just described, where you just meet them and you're like, oh fuck, I know who you are. They can't hide anymore. The energies are not there to support the hiding of the information anyways. So guys, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. Cliff High's Substack, fascinating series there. The Summer of Emergence is what he's calling it. Did you see that series, and how do you tie that into perhaps the fear that we're also fearing in the collective, or feeling in the collective, in terms of this dread? Might not be our dread, it's their dread that, of course, this energy is not in their favor anymore. Meg.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to see that series yet, but totally. This is why it's critical. And I'm sorry, you guys, if I sound like a broken record whenever I go live, but I'm always saying spend as much time in nature as you possibly can. Have some sort of self-discipline practice. So, you know, for me, and I've said this publicly before, I find it really hard to meditate these past few years. Used to be able to do that. So for me, the discipline isn't meditation. It's going for walks. It's dancing. It's riding my bike. It's moving my energy. Whatever it is for you that makes you feel good on a daily basis to strengthen your energy, critical, because I've definitely had moments, JC, you've had moments. I think a lot of us are starting to have these moments where it might be with a stranger, or the really freaky part is if it's with someone you actually know really closely and you've known for a while, and then you start to see facets of them psychically that you didn't notice before. And psychically, it's not always through visions, you guys. I personally am very clairvoyant and get visions, but this is also through the psychic knowing of your claircognizance, your clairsentience. If you just feel off around a person physically, that's a psychic sense. right? So paying attention to what you feel, see, know when you're around people, because I think not everybody is a real person, right? And
We have some NPCs, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and some people are, you know, hijacked by some of these darker forces at the moment. So they might not necessarily be a reptilian or a shapeshifter, but a lot of people are under this black magic spell at the moment.
That's crazy. On the note of Cliff High's video, first, thank you for that, Meg. People are also saying, yes, they enjoyed the video between Cliff High and Jenny Moonstone. Let me bring that one up also. And guys, if you haven't seen the viewer question beyond the news from today, Jenny Moonstone was filling in for Janine for her birthday. We did the rapid fire questions with Tarot. Absolutely amazing show here today. Jenny knocked it out of the park. So please go check that out on the pay-per-view side of things. And if you haven't seen this interview with her and Cliff High, go to Jenny Constantine, her YouTube channel here. And there was a bit of a lag in some of the audio of this recording, and she said that she's re-rendering the video and will be also re-uploading it perhaps in a day or two for now with an improved audio. It's not that bad. You could still listen to this clip that's already originally there, but if you want to wait for the one with the video audio, I think it's coming out tomorrow, she said. But anyways, fabulous interview there with Cliff, guys. You're absolutely right. So Meg, let's go back here to Mars-Pluto opposition. Let me bring it back on the stage for you here. Now, if you were to sum it up, how is it affecting us individually versus what we're seeing in the collective? Or how do you think that will continue to manifest there? Or what seeds has that planted here for perhaps the summer of hotness that Cliff High is talking about here?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because this opposition will be done May 8th, where it's in a strong orb of influence. But then after that, we're going to have some other really intense transits that we'll have to talk about in upcoming shows. Full moon in Scorpio, Saturn and Neptune coming into strong conjunction, Saturn changing signs, all kinds of stuff. But this Mars-Pluto opposition in particular, which it's getting to this strong apex this week as it's at the end of its strong opposition, it's about power struggles in the collective and in our personal lives, the power struggles between the light and the dark. So we're seeing these power struggles all over the world. You know, the tariffs is a very big power struggle at the moment. The financial system, there's a lot of power struggle going on with that. Yeah. And you may notice in your personal lives, you guys at the moment, that there could be power struggles within yourself and your own shadow side, certain things that you know aren't serving you anymore. But it is hard to let things go that have become a habit or a routine or normal in our lives, or people. Pluto can deal with merging with others as well. So, you know, we've just got over a week left of this opposition. Remember to not take reactions personally from others, because people can be very easily triggered. In particular, and it's funny, JC, because you're an Aries and I'm a Scorpio, and we're both ruled by Mars in astrology. So Aries and Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising since October. I don't know about you, JC, but I've definitely been feeling it. I've been having huge mood swings. I've been very easily agitated and annoyed with this Mars-Pluto opposition on and off. Aries and Scorpios have been the most affected by this. So good news, it's almost over. Aries and Scorpios will be a bit more level-headed by the end of next week.
Yeah, I can admit to that. I have not been as even-keeled as I usually am. Again, I thought maybe I'm not sleeping, I'm aggravated, but it just felt like I'm aggravated a lot by little things, but mostly like people around you. So that, yeah, I have to cop to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm normally not that patient to begin with, like I said, Aries, but some of this in the last couple of weeks was pretty difficult for me to manage. That's for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I just got two more points for that,
Jason.
Just two more points. So the country of Canada is an Aries rising. Aries ruled by Mars. Okay. So whatever is the planetary ruler of your rising sign, we call that in astrology your chart ruler. And it's actually the most important planet to pay attention to in the current transits. So things have been so crazy for Canada since this Mars-Pluto opposition started, since Mars was at his fall in Cancer, since September 2024, we've seen huge power struggles with this Mars-Pluto opposition, Mars being Canada's chart ruler, between Canada and the US. And it seems like a huge death of what Canada is potentially and the old power structure, powerful people that have been in charge up until this point. Also, one of the other kind of conflicts we're seeing, being played out is with drones, UFOs, possibly in the skies in the USA and all over the world at the moment. Drones and UFOs are ruled by Aquarius. Pluto is in Aquarius in an opposition to Mars in Leo. So I do believe that there are literally wars going on, battles going on in the sky right now. I think there's so much going on all astral levels at the moment. So yeah, I think that makes sense with this opposition as well.
Okay, so let me take a sidebar. Well, no, we'll come back to it. Let me write it down. Well, you just mentioned something. I saw something absolutely crazy today. Aqualia, as Cliff High calls them. I sent him the picture earlier tonight. I don't think he's seen it yet. Cliff, if you're in the chat, check your text messages. I sent you a picture while I was on the road. Okay, let's get into the election then. Do you want to get into the Canada stuff now, how this ties in? Okay.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned October. So Trudeau, of course, prorogued the House. We've been without a government for quite some time. Now we've had this election. Some people say it was a selection. Some people are saying today it was a stolen election. But that's neither here nor there. The point I'm trying to make here, let me just remove this one and add this one for you guys. I saw this article. This was from Tasha Kiradin, somebody I know from a long time ago in politics. I love her analysis. She says, a national unity crisis is brewing here in Canada. And the title here was, if you thought the past parliament was dysfunctional, buckle up for 2025. So first, what's the astrology there telling us about this infighting, this power struggle, this power vacuum that's trying to be filled here in Canada? Generally speaking, before we get into the personalities per se, what's in store for Canada in terms of energies right now? Are we going towards the calm side, collective side, unity, or are we going for this big fireworks moment here where, you know, we get to that point in the Sapphire Webbot data that says a newly constituted Canada, right? And we're seeing some rumblings of that now with Alberta. So what's the astrology right now for Canada? Let me let you bring up your slide here as well. Let's do that here. So
yeah.
Here. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, the astrology is absolutely crazy for Canada right now. And I put out a video on my YouTube channel a couple weeks ago where I put out like my official predictions for the election. But I started that by saying, as an honest astrologer, I have to say that Canada is the weirdest country chart out of any country in the whole world because it has exact, and let me actually show this to you guys so you can see, excuse me, this is Canada's chart. Exact sun, which is the identity, the most important placement, right? Exactly conjunct Uranus, the planet of shocks, surprises, weirdness, unpredictability, separation, things separating, divorce, right? At a Scorpio degree. So I said, I feel, and I do believe this, I think, and this is my personal opinion based off the astrology, I think Pierre won the election and it was stolen from him.
Okay.
And I think there was a major attack on the electoral system. Whether that was, maybe that was overseen by good guys and they let that happen, but there was for sure a very intense attack done on election night. And
so it was made to happen or let happen, but something happened in your opinion.
Yes.
Here. Okay.
Whether it was made to happen or let happen, but I do think there was very nefarious energies, and I'm getting intuitively as well that it's not just the actual election and the ballots, and I'll explain why this is astrologically, but for some reason, I feel there's major psychic attacks also towards Canada at the moment, because Canada has the potential here to totally trip the world out and flip to become one of the best places to live, which I know may sound totally freaking crazy.
What astrologer 5-6 years ago, and I think you and I had a talk on this during COVID, that eventually Canada was going to be the place to be. Like, don't move now. Because remember the time people were leaving Canada because of Trudeau, the trucker convoy. Was it? Do you remember which famous astrologer was saying no? Actually, Canada is going to be a good place. Do you remember?
Well, I said that 5 years ago.
I know you.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who else.
I believe there was somebody else. Oh, well, you're famous in your own right, absolutely. But and I totally acquiesce to that. But there was somebody else too, and the reason I'm saying that too is because they had said something on a different show. I'll try to think about it. There's another link there to that story, but keep
Yeah.
going. So anyways, that's interesting because right now it doesn't look that way, and people surely don't feel that way. It very much feels like if you're looking just at the surface without getting into the woo of it all, you think, oh man, they installed their World Economic Forum puppet into a government right now, and he's going to continue pushing forward on the same crazy green agendas, the carbon taxes, the gun grabs, the double down on woke, as Mark Carney said during the campaign. And we're like, fuck, nobody wants that. How do we go from that to being the best place? I'm curious what you're going to bring up, but keep going.
Yeah, well, there's many different factors, but I think one of the main factors is that Sun-Uranus conjunction, which means, okay, and people are not going to be happy with me saying this, it is not going to be predictable. Uranus is not predictable. So anybody telling you, here's exactly what's going to happen to Canada in the next year, they're probably wrong because it's not supposed to be in a predictable way. That's part of our path is Canada and the wake-up process of what it's showing astrologically. But just want to touch on, JC, why I think the election was stolen or completely rigged is because Mars, the chart ruler of Canada, at the time of the election on election night, was exactly conjunct Canada's natal Mercury. Mercury rules ballots, anything written, pens, papers, local communities, election offices to do an election, people volunteering, that whole thing. So Mars was conjunct the natal Mercury in an opposition to Pluto with that Mars-Pluto opposition was exact the day before. So a dark attack happened on the country. Was it allowed to happen? Was it facilitated to happen? This is where it gets trippy, but I do believe Pierre won the election. And there's so many, if you go on X, Telegram, people speaking out on many of the, what's it called? Not mail-in ballots or what's the right word? When
Advanced voting.
Advanced voting, that none of those were even counted. Like there's all this fishy stuff going on.
Well, there's already reports also, people taking photograph of people working in polling stations, bringing the ballot boxes to their house unsecured and then bringing them back the next day. Like, what the fuck is that all about? I don't know. And then there, of course, as you're talking about the astrology, there was this weird thing that happened in Pierre Poilievre's writing to where there was like 99 names on a ballot in one writing. What the hell? You couldn't even find Pierre if you wanted to on that list. And of course, Pierre lost his own writing in all of this. So there's a lot of weird stuff that still needs to be examined. And I think what we'll do as more of this information comes out, because we're probably going to see lawsuits, and I saw Elections Canada say today too that there were some utter irregularities at other polling stations. They were talking about something completely different that I hadn't seen yesterday. So there might be more developing story on that. But I think for now, if we pull back and just go back to a comment in the live chat, let me see if I can get back to it here. Somebody said Trump was wrong to troll Canada. It backfired badly. Here they're talking about making it the 51st state, which angered Canadians. It completely changed the ballot question from the carbon tax to the old Liberal government's record to now we need to unite and fight against Trump, the bad guy, right? So it completely changed the election ballot question. So Zenbin is saying, yeah, he was wrong to do it. It backfired. Hold on. I'm not sure it did. Because when you listen to Trump very carefully, it very much appeared that Trump wanted Carney to be elected. He made a gaffe as to say, when he's elected, we're going to talk the next day and we're going to have a deal and it's going to be good for Canada and for the United States. Trump went as far as saying that. And then the day after, he kind of retracted, well, if he wins. But he kind of let it out that, no, this guy's going to win. So if you listen to Trump long enough, you know what he was hinting at. So here's my point. If Trump wanted Carney to win and Trump is an agent of the White Hats, then maybe it didn't backfire. Maybe we're exactly where we're supposed to be in the grander plan. What that plan is, I don't know. I'm wearing my Canada t-shirt right now, a Pure Blood t-shirt. I don't know. But it very much feels to me that Trump is trying to organize, put together some type of North American defense and economic zone. That's why Panama Canal, that's why Canada, that's why Greenland. So in that context, him wanting Carney is a step towards maybe that objective. Maybe we can look at the cards later on, But that seems to suggest that we're exactly where we're supposed to be, and that Trump did not want Pierre Poilievre for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on that? Because to me, when I saw the election on that night, first of all, the night before the election, I was talking to some insiders, and they were like, "Ooh, geez, I don't know. I'm looking at the numbers. I don't know, man. It's going to be minority either way." Nobody could call it the night before.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew, okay, it doesn't look like Pierre is going to win a majority the night before. So I kind of acclimatized to that fact the day before the election. Now, in election night, a lot of people around me were like, "Oh, no, it's impossible. All these morons voted for another term of these liberals. How could that be? It's crazy." I'm like, half of me was like nonchalant in the thinking of, well, maybe we're exactly where we're supposed to be because this is the white hat op. Trump wanted this guy. Or maybe I'm just so fucking tired that I don't care anymore. I don't want to listen to it. So I was kind of oscillating between both sentiments on election night. But now 2 days later or 3 days later, I'm like, yeah, I think we're exactly where we're supposed to be. I don't know why yet, and perhaps you and I can decode that together, but it feels that way. So for the comment on the screen, I don't think it backfired. I think it's exactly what Trump wanted. Your first thoughts on that, Mick?
Yeah, I'm open to seeing how that's going to play out. I personally don't feel that Trump is a bad guy and a globalist. I know many people are kind of flipping and feeling like that, and we all have our right to, I'm all about freedom, feel whatever you want. Sure. Energetically, I don't feel Trump is bad. I don't feel we're being played by Trump. It's strange as a Canadian seeing him prop up Carney, JC, we know who Carney is. Like, it's like, what the fuck, right? Why are you?
I know.
Yeah. Why are you saying he's a nice guy? So even when I hear that, I'm like, ooh, I don't like to hear he's a nice guy. I don't like to hear. There's certain things I don't like to hear. But at the same time, I think this is all happening for a very big reason. And can I just pull up my other slide for a moment, JC, because it ties into what I'm saying.
And hold that thought for just 1 second. Okay, yeah. I just want to bring this one up. Marquetta says, Jean-Claude, they cheated just like in our 2020 election in the States. That may very well be the case, but like I said, not really my focus for tonight. And it's not that it's not important. It is important if, in fact, they cheated. We need election integrity here in Canada just as much as you guys need it in the States. But my point is, here we are in 2025, and there's still no justice for 2020 in the States. So I'm not holding my breath for any justice on the electoral reform here in Canada. My point is, where are we right now? What does this mean? How do we help? If it is indeed a white hat op, how do we bring our energies for the higher good here of Canada moving forward? That's kind of the conversation I want to get at tonight. Okay, go back to that last slide you wanted to share there.
Yeah, so it's weird, right? Canada, the weirdest country astrology. It's weird because we just had this, many of us can look at it as a tragedy, even though there's libtard, okay, sorry, but sometimes we use that term, libtard people celebrating like, yay, we have Mark Carney, this is awesome. Did you see that couple, JC, that they put out that really cringe video, like, we just had Mark Carney win? Did you see that on X? I'll have to send that to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I saw the cringe video of Mark Carney and his wife dancing elbows up, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so cringe. I can't do it.
There's an even cringier one I'll send to you.
Okay.
But what was I going to say there? Okay, so they're celebrating. So how weird is this? They're celebrating. They're like, yay, we're going to beat Trump and we're going to. Yeah. No. Okay. And then there's this other side of us, freedom lovers. We're totally tripped out. What's going on? Are we going to have to move to Alberta? What's happening right now?
Right.
The current transits for Canada. Canada is a Cancer. United States is a Cancer sun. Jupiter is moving into Cancer just over a month from now on June 9th, 2025. We'll be there for a year. This is going to be extremely positive for Canada and the US. So I've written, this is one of the most positive things you can have in astrology, transit Jupiter conjunct your sun. So Jupiter will be exactly conjunct the natal sun Uranus conjunction of Canada from July 14th to 18th. There will be some sort of major positive development for Canada in that time frame. Okay. Also, transit Jupiter is within a strong orb 5 degrees of the natal sun Uranus conjunction from June 22nd to August 11th. And interesting, also the G7, which is going to be happening in Alberta, is going to be right before that. So within range of that. And I was saying to JC before I went live, I looked at the whole Alberta astrology. That is wild. That G7 is going to be wild, Wild West, a drama show. That's going to be very, very interesting.
I mean, if you didn't know it was a movie, like of all the locations they can plan, and again with the astrology and all that, the fact that they could separate to the fact that the First Nations are making their voices heard here in the last 2 days, asking Carney to put Premier Smith back in line. Like, it's absolutely bonkers what's happening there. And on top of all of that, Preston Manning, this figurehead of the Western Alliance from decades ago, just resurfaced in the last couple of days. Like, yeah, maybe it's time again to maybe separate the West from the rest of Canada. So it's kind of like, dude, again, I'm thinking of a couple of years ago, Cliff telling me, JC, I have it in the data. There's a data set called Newly Constituted Canada, right?
Wow.
So at that point, it felt scary. But what you're saying here is like, it's probably a good thing. But these are the stepping stones here, the dates, the times, the placements, and all that seem to be leading us in that direction. Would you agree that's what we're looking at now? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, the next birthday solar return chart of Canada is extremely positive with Sun rising and Jupiter conjunction. So there's very positive astrology coming for Canada. Some of the most positive things you can possibly have, where also in conjunction with Mark Carney's chart is so weak. It is so weak. It is so bad. I don't think he's going to be prime minister by the end of the year.
I asked Jenny that today, and she thought the next couple of months to maybe 3 months.
Yeah.
And Janine's been picking up on that too.
Yeah.
And I think Cliff, the last time he was on our show with the Wacky Woo, he said he didn't see Carney in a big way or official way or significant way in the data past, I think he said May or June. Or maybe July at the latest. So he doesn't seem to be there for long. And what Jenny Moonstone was getting today in the reading was that something comes out also that's very detrimental information-wise. Could be the Epstein list. Of course, Epstein, his wife, were caught with Ghislaine Maxwell at a hedonism party. This was reported in mainstream news here in Canada. There might be more to that. There might be something having to do with the tax havens, offshores. Who knows? Or maybe other stuff we just don't even fathom yet. So that's crazy. Okay.
And all of this going on, well, and this could be a whole other show on itself because there's so much to unpack there, but Alberta is seriously separating from Canada. So whether that actually goes through, which I think is a huge potential that that's going to be happening, that's happening at the same time.
So they just lowered the threshold here for having this referendum, and they've already met the required verified signatures within the first 24 hours. And I think they've lowered the threshold of the timing it would take to also have that referendum. So this is what I mean. It's heating up here very quickly. And where's this Preston Manning thing? So this is the Western Front. People are suggesting here could be in play right now. And yeah, Preston Manning, geez, talking about this Western Assembly here after this Liberal win. So crazy times to say the least. Okay, something you mentioned too. I want to go back to. Well, first of all, is there more in that slide you want to share with the audience before?
Just a couple points.
Okay, let me bring it back up. There you go.
Where did that go?
This one here.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. So there's this very positive transits, but at the same time, with the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that's going to be starting this summer, happening in Canada's 12th house, also the Pisces eclipses hitting Canada's south node. This is a huge time of healing, reality checks, breaking through programming and past illusions and lies and deceptions, which does not happen overnight, right? Yeah. So this is where I think it's discernment is very, very important, you guys, because I think there may be a possibility here where, and use your own discernment, do whatever you feel. But from what I'm seeing with the astrology, there may be a certain amount of time where freedom-loving Canadians might actually have to go to Alberta or Saskatchewan for a little while other parts of Canada fully maybe have to go through a harder time to go through a wake-up. Because, I mean, to have gone through everything we've gone through, JC, and then to actually vote again for the Liberals, that's some very deep mind control. programming.
It's some weird fucking shit. It's like I saw this meme during the campaign where it's like the men in black and Carney's holding that little pen. It's like, oh, and just like that, you're gonna forget the whole last 10 years.
Yeah.
But it seemed to have worked on a lot of people, including some of her friends, and we're looking at them like, what? You don't remember what just happened? And also, don't you see it's the same guy with the same cabinet, with the same team, with the same people behind them? Like, it's absolutely absurd. I don't know.
Yep.
But
It's wild.
one of my friends was telling me, she's more into the politics side still of things, and she's saying, yeah, he says, it's weird, like the ballot question did change, but also what was emerging was a fight between the haves and the have-nots, to where Pierre was garnering the vote of the have-nots, the young people who are trying to buy a house, who want affordability, who want their streets to be safe and all that. And then some of the boomers who, no, they just want the pension funds to be secured. They just want the stock market to go up. They want more money printing because it serves them, and to hell with the younger people, right? And that was that famous Brampton, was it Brampton? I think it was Brampton, the boomer guy. Yeah, the guys who were flipping off people there in the election line. So I was like, wow, okay, that's really where we're at. But I don't really believe that. I think the media was playing that too. But I'm like, I talked to a lot of boomers, and they're also kind of concerned that their kids can buy houses and all that. To what point the difference? I don't know. But they were kind of trying to sell that, the division. Brantford boomer. Thank you, Monoblog.
Right.
The right answer. Wow. Can I ask you a question about Trump?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the libtarbs earlier. Okay, so let me go back. Let's take this off the screen. When Trump endorsed Carney, like I literally thought people would go berserk and not like crazy, because here in Canada, throughout the whole election, all of mainstream news, it was Trump derangement syndrome on steroids. This guy's a clown. He's an idiot. He's a moron. And blah blah blah. Just like it's like all the bad words you can listen to. Like they were saying it on mainstream news, and yet all of a sudden, Trump, the bad guy, endorses their guy Carney, and then everything's okay. So like, wait a second. If he's truly a moron and an idiot, as you say, then perhaps it's not a good thing that he's endorsing your guy, Carney. Do you not compete? Right. And people were looking at me like, huh? Or the smoke would come out of their ears. Like they just couldn't fucking compute with that. And even the mainstream news, they couldn't even consolidate that, right? So here we are even today, after the election, where the liberals, if they do a deal with Trump, they've just, they think Carney is their savior, but Carney might be the guy who's just going to go ahead now and do a deal with the person they think is the devil, Trump. Mm-hmm. Like, how they're going to sell that here in Canada? He's not done having troubles, Carney, here moving forward.
Oh, no.
But what do you make of that dichotomy? It's just like, it's mind-blowing that those liberals, they went from hating Trump to, oh, no, it's okay. He's good now because, he's supporting Carney. Like, oh, my God. There's no intellectual honesty whatsoever in mainstream news and in this discourse at, the Tim Hortons and coffee shops around Canada. It made no sense. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it has to do, because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. No. And I think it does also tie into what I've been feeling really strongly, and I know many other people have been feeling too, but I've been feeling it really intensely in my day-to-day, is this frequency, this black magic spell that's over these people that watch the news, that, have gotten experimental injections, that drink the fluoride, whatever ways they put themselves vulnerable to that vibration, it's almost like they can't see through it. It's these frequencies are going to have to be stopped, whether that's the 5G or they're going to have to go through some major healing or cleansing process. It's because you don't let go of that kind of programming overnight. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah. I was talking to Cliff the other day. I was like, I think because you said, oh, maybe instead of buying a house in where were you going? Niagara Falls. You're gonna say, oh, we'll go to Alberta or whatever. Yep. And I was talking to Sarah, I'm like, can we go live on a mountain somewhere and be a recluse for the next couple of years and maybe watch this from afar? Because it's absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. let's leave the politics at that. I think we
Yeah.
have enough for tonight. And thanks, guys, for bearing with us, because for most of our American viewers, this is still very important because the whole tariffs thing is still not completed. Apparently, Trump said that he talked to Carney on the day of the election to congratulate him. And he said, oh, yeah, that guy's a good guy. And he said he's ready to make a deal. And it was like, what? Carney's making a deal? That's odd to me. Actually, let's go back to this. That's odd to me because Carney typically right now is in the minority government. So how is he going to make a deal with Trump? The whole point of having this election was to have a strong mandate. Well, he doesn't have a strong mandate. He's in a minority government here. But what I was showing, and going back to that Tasha Kiridan article, we could be looking at the same type of situation to where the NDP here, who've lost party status, by the way, Jagmeet Singh lost his seat.
Wow.
All of this to prop up the Liberals in the last government, right? They completely obliterated, submarined the NDP party just to prop up the Liberals. But they still have enough seats here with those 7 seats. If you add it to the 168 from the Liberals to come to 175, that would bring them in a majority position. Yeah. So I'm not sure they're going to do that. They don't have a leader right now. They're in turmoil, of course. They don't even have official party status, which means they don't have the same funding they do to operate in the House, to have their offices and all that. So they're in disarray. What was funny also is that the Green Party leader, Elizabeth May, let me see if I have that on the screen here. I had it earlier. She apparently is going to cross the board. Where did she go? Anyways, and join the Liberal Party. So I'm like, okay,
what?
that's yeah. I have that somewhere, but yeah, absolutely crazy. So would it be possible that they can form some type of coalition? I asked Meg that today. Jenny Moonstone that today in the show, and she's like, no, he doesn't look like he's in a strong position. So this minority here is gonna dog him for quite some time here until perhaps we're gonna have another election. And again, that's what Tasha Kiridan was saying here too, with this national unity brewing, with this minority government. We could be heading back to the polls sooner than later. Oh, yeah. And I was having this conversation this morning with one of my friends, and I said, listen, the budget's coming up, these money bills are coming up, and if he's in a minority, he can fight a no confidence vote. So we could be exactly at the same spot to where last October now would be Carney who would call a prorogation to stop the vote so he doesn't lose control of the House here in this non-confidence vote, and then swing us right back into an election. So we're in this weird period of time, and like you said, anything is possible at this point. It's going to be crazy. Yeah. And as long as it's crazy here in Canada, it's going to be crazy with our American counterparts. The whole tariff thing is not done yet. Whatever the real objective behind these tariffs are, whether that's the financial system changing over, this defense zone for North America taking place, we don't know where that's going yet. So that's very fascinating. So why don't we take a look at some of those different little aspects here tonight too for the audience members. The money system. That's the big one to where it appeared moving into April. This is from the last WooFi show that Janine said that we were going to see directions, not necessarily the new system put in place, but directions as to where that was going to go. And I thought that was interesting that just a couple of days ago, again, in April, Trump was putting more policy planks around this idea of completely eliminating the income tax in the States. And here now he's talking about focusing on people who are making less than $200,000 a year. And so he's saying the External Revenue Service is happening. So now we're seeing more and more meat to the bones here as to what that's going to look like. So it's so like Janine said, we'll see it. It's kind of be there. It's not that it'll take months to implement, but we're going to have an inkling as to where that's going at the end of April. So there's that. And there was also this Carl Schwab interview from earlier today. These guys manage $7 trillion or so, suggesting that they're going to clear a path here to launch a Bitcoin and crypto buying. So we're seeing more and more institutional money now coming into this crypto world. Again, kind of on the heels of Trump saying, yeah, we're going to reduce the regulation here. We're going to make North America the crypto capital of the world, investment capital of the world, innovation capital of the world, all that stuff. So it very much feels like now we know something's happening with the financial system, something's happening with the income tax, and something's going to change here to where fiat might take a back seat to new currencies taking form. And we're seeing more and more of the states also now making gold and silver legal tender for purchases and also for taxes and all that stuff. So we're entering that war. We're seeing kind of the light there. So what I want to ask you, generally speaking, let's say for the next 6 months, because Janine we're going to have an inkling now in April, and probably by late summer or into the fall, we're going to really know what's happening, or we're going to see it for real, or the normies are going to see it, I think is what she said. What's the astrology behind that would suggest maybe Bitcoin taking, fiat money's lunch, maybe gold and silver going absolutely crazy? On that note, gold is already actually going crazy. It's already in a reset, if you want to call it that. It's being revalued as we speak. It's no longer a question of if and when. It's happening live in real time in front of your eyes. So what's the astrology behind finances here for the next couple of months, Nick?
Well, it's going to be very, very interesting. Let me just bring up a chart to show you here, you guys. Oops.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. Excuse me. So I've got a chart for September, which is our next eclipse season, our next eclipse day. By this point, all the outer planets will now be in air and fire signs. So by the way, you guys, when we go into summer 2025, you are going to feel energies. You're going to start to feel a lightening of energies, even though there's still going to be a lot of big world events going on. Lighting of energies, your psychic abilities turning on, us becoming pioneers and way showers and up-leveling even more to that, because these outer planets are all changing signs at the same time. How this relates to the financial system, JC, it's definitely going to change the financial system for sure. And we've had Pluto in Aquarius full on since the end of November 2024. But now this is getting a little bit into the deeper layers of astrology. It is important with a transit to pay attention to what we call the dispositor of that transit. So Pluto's in Aquarius. What planet rules Aquarius? Uranus. Where's Uranus been since 2018? At his weakest position in Taurus. Uranus rules new system. Pluto rules big money. Aquarius is the future. But that hasn't really set in yet and won't until July 7th and onwards, when Uranus ingresses into Gemini. Then we're going to start to see, and I'm not a financial advisor, you guys, but more of the crypto highs, more clarity, like some of these new systems actually being integrated and started, and the financial system really moving forward from that.
Okay.
We're also having, from now until July 7th, JC, Uranus at the last critical degrees of Taurus, which could mark a potential for a financial crash. I don't want that to happen. I'm just saying astrologically, that potential is there, and it'll be there one last time in the fall when Uranus retrogrades one last time back into Taurus before fully going into Gemini 2026.
Okay. So we have those two critical dates there. Kind of bookends on all of this. Okay, so let me bring up some of the emotional tension values on the chart that Cliff had given us. So let me see if we can go back to that. I want to add that to the conversation for the audience. This, by the way, is what I was looking for. Green Party's Elizabeth May open to running for House Speaker, joining Carney's cabinet. So completely leaving the Green Party, joining the Liberals here. I'm like, what? Okay. That's just absolutely crazy.
She's nuts, that lady.
I was trying to be polite, but yeah. I have other choice words, but nuts. We'll keep the nuts for now.
Yeah.
Okay. So emotional values. So you talked about September here.
Yeah.
It seems to be a lead up for something cataclysmic and big happening first week of October. 102. Look at those emotional values. Like that's crazy. So we're in this peak period now, May, June, July. We're going to peak. We're going to have a little bit of a lull in August and maybe the beginning of September. And then again, this huge peak there. So Janine had it too. The last time we looked at this particular chart, this seemed to be financial. But at the same time, the ETs were all over this fucking shit. So I was like, oh, okay. So we haven't talked about that tonight too. I want to get into the ET stuff here too. So where that aligns. So people, look at these dates, make your decisions for yourself and how to navigate all of this for yourself. If you're seeing that the financial world is changing, don't put your head in the sand, study, take some time to look at this and then decide where you want to put your eggs and in what baskets you want to put your eggs, and don't follow the herds. You really have to do this for yourself and do all the research yourself. Megan and I are not financial advisors, but clearly the tectonic plates are moving below our feet right now. There's still some time for the people who can see where this is going to kind of better position themselves here as we go through. And that's what we hope that we can do with you guys by sharing some of this information. So going back on the ET stuff, let me see if I can bring this picture up. This was cool. So I don't know when it was. Maybe it was in January or February. I was talking to Cliff about the drone stuff in New Jersey. And he had run in a report, and he said, in the summer of 2025, we're going to see such an escalation of this shit, like the New Jersey drone stuff, to where this fight is breaking out into the open, to where we're going to see UFOs crash land on people's houses. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I was out in traffic tonight with Sarah, and then I saw this. This is the bus going by in Ottawa, and they have a sign here for Vanity Roofing. You won't believe what we can fix. There's a fucking UFO crashing into a house.
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, okay, for any normie out there, this ad does not make sense. It doesn't even register. What are you talking about, UFOs? It's just like it's not really something that they would put up there. Like, it doesn't make sense yet to them. But maybe in a couple of months from now, it sure will, because this will be mainstream news. UFOs crashing on houses, just as it was predicted in the WebBot data. So I thought that was absolutely cool to see that. I sent that to Cliff. I hope he sees it and he can comment here before the end of the show. Your thoughts there, and then the astrology also suggesting that we might have more of a ramp up on the ET side of things also. Nick.
That is so wild that you saw that. It's like crazy synchronicity.
Yeah.
And also programming that they're doing through that.
Yeah, predictive programming, Dibster is saying. Yeah, exactly.
Predictive programming. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the ET stuff will
Perhaps those guys read the WebBot data reports and they're adjusting their advertising scheme, so ahead of the curve and ahead of the events, so to speak.
Yeah.
So good on them. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, I think definitely starting July 7th, going until the fall, we will see a big ramp up of ET, UFO. It's already very strong, and Uranus is in Taurus at the moment. So I think it's going to get really crazy this summer when Uranus changes signs, for sure. And Uranus being the planet that rules ETs, UFOs, anything from outer space, also possible discovery of another planet or notable celestial bodies in our solar system, space discoveries, what's going on with Oumuamua, stuff like that as well.
Well, yeah, and Oumuamua is supposed to return too. Apparently, the astrologers were saying that it seems to be making track back to us here, and it has like companions this time around. So that too is out there. We talked about that on the show, I think, last month. We're going to be tracking that a little bit more this year as that unfolds, but that's crazy also in and of itself. But the things falling on people's houses, I mean, that's okay. Now it's mainstream news. Like, hey, Bob, there's a fucking ET wearing a Nigger suit in your backyard. Like, what the hell? That's
I'll have to see if there's any parallels between what was it in New Mexico? What was that? Roswell. Roswell. That was Roswell, right? When the craft fell. Yeah. Maybe there's some parallels between that astrology and what's going on now, but with so much entering Aries this year and in 2026, Aries, as you know, JC, you being in Aries, is in the present moment, physical life, like being embodied in the present moment. So, oh my God, there's actually a physical craft on my house. It just crashed, or something just crashed. I saw it over there. And now we have this weird metal thing in the backyard. Things are going to get more real with all these planets going into Aries. So as we were talking about even before, seeing psychically, even like physically, what actually is going on with the person, seeing ETs, seeing UFOs, having possible crafts crash into places. Our sight is opening up. Aries is also our sight.
Okay. Well, that'll be interesting to watch. Secrets revealed. I want to go back to this one here too. And I also want to talk about the blackouts we're seeing in Europe right now, whether that's like a residual of the old plan, they're trying to kick it up again, or is it a white hat op to show people, look, this whole fucking digital thing doesn't work. You also need cash. You also need gold and silver. You can't be completely attached to the digital system as they want you to be, all that stuff. I'll get to that in just a moment. But I saw this, see if I can go to this one. This is James O'Keefe putting out a very cryptic message the other day, suggesting that he was not suicidal. And that's funny because Joffrey, the Epstein victim, just a couple of weeks ago had said the same thing. She wasn't suicidal, but yet apparently now she was suicided. So he's suggesting here that there's a big story coming out, and he's very nervous. Janine pulled on that the other day too. He's nervous for a good reason. The cards were like, holy fuck, this is serious. Wow. What do you think this is leading to? Do you want to do a poll? Do you want to do some cards on this?
Let's do a poll.
Because I asked, was he safe? And she answered, well, he's doing the right things. He's hired the right bodyguards. He's like doing the protection stuff. But he like, this is whatever he's on now, what he's talking about and why he's saying this it was serious as a heart attack. Like, this is not a joke. It wasn't just a prank, a media prank. There's something here that appears to be coming out here. And we're questioning, what direction does that go? What type of information? Like, political stuff, Epstein stuff, something new we don't even know about yet. Like, let's do a poll.
Yeah, it's no joke, and we're going to get the clarity about it really, really fast. So we've got the 8 of Wands. So this is something that's going to be imminent within the next few days or up to a week, whatever story this is. And we've got the Tower. So this is no freaking joke. Okay,
right.
We've got the Tower upright. This is
dude, Janine had the same cards. She had the same cards.
That's
in the poll
crazy.
Yesterday. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And I'm hearing spirits say this could possibly be the biggest story he's ever put out there.
Wow.
Huge Tower moment for him, for all of us as a society. And Queen of Pentacles has to do with maybe a woman with a lot of money. I don't know, possibly Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Or also, there's so many different charts and things for me to look at, JC, but I've been feeling with this upcoming full moon in Scorpio, I haven't even looked at her transits yet, but I feel like there's something with Hillary Clinton going to be happening because she is a Scorpio with that full moon in Scorpio on May 12th. Also, that full moon in Scorpio, sorry, this is going on a sidetrack for a second, but it might relate, is the day before the P. Diddy trial starts. So the P. Diddy trial starts May 4th, but they don't do their first opening statements until May 13th or May 12th. I think it's the 13th, Monday. So that might tie in, like all these things feel like they tie in together, but someone with a lot of money, he's scared for good reason of like somebody, possibly a woman, or has a more female energy that has a lot of money. And it's interesting that we've also got the Knight of Pentacles for James as well, reverse. So he might be feeling not confident at this moment for some reason. Maybe he lost someone on his team or something's going on where this one, it is a really big deal what's going on, but there's also an element where there might be something on the back end as well affecting his confidence going into this. But with the 8 of Wands, he knows that this has to come out, even if it is like at the risk of his life. It feels like it has to come out right now. It has to do with the news story coming up very soon. And it's going to be very uncomfortable information for the public.
So it's not a joke.
No.
And it's somewhat imminent. Janine was having that same thing too, and it was going to be quick and fast when it starts to come out. Wow.
And it's going to answer a lot of questions that we've had as a community. We've got the Ace of Pentacles. So there's huge clarity that's going to be coming in about an organization or a woman or a group of people that we've been like, what the fuck? What's going on with that? That's also part of the urgency behind that. Something that's been giving us like heartbreak. We're going to get the clarity around that.
Wow.
That's a big freaking deal. So definitely we got to send prayers out to James.
Yeah. Thank you, June Marika, for that. Yes. And everyone there too, please send him some protection energy. He needs it. That's interesting too, in light of, again, just going back, if you haven't watched the beginning of the show, this Emerging Now video from Cliff High on his Substack. He was talking about these specific years here of secrets revealed from 2025 to 2046. The bulk of it happening in 25 and 26, all the way up after that into 46. So he was talking about the power structure being exposed, the sex scandals, money, currency, deception. He talked about COVID, the aliens, 0 point technology, the demiurge, the Satan worshiping, all that stuff too. All of that coming out in a big way. So you can imagine the normies who are slack-jawed right now, who look like zombies, like what the hell are they going to be doing here in the rest of 2025 and 26? That's why I was suggesting maybe moving into the woods a little bit deeper for a couple of months and watch this happening is probably not a bad idea.
You know, and just if I could just speak on that really briefly, JC, is I don't think Canada, or what we know of as Canada, it's not completely going to shit. It's not the end of the world. I don't see that happening. But to your point of what you just said, is sometimes we can go through waves of change easier if maybe we're in more of a little bit of a hermit mode kind of space, right? If you're living in a city and you're right in it, and I know we all have different situations. For some of us, maybe it's harder to move, but that's going to be way more intense than if you're able to go a little bit more rural during these times.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. Okay, we're at the hour mark. I have some brand new things to give away tonight. You want to give away some prizes, and then we'll come back maybe for a last pull or two? What do you think?
Sure, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm good,
okay. So I want to show you these brand new creations here. These are from Carla at Ascension Organites. She was working with Janine and myself here to create these brand new candles. So you can see here the candles for Beyond Mystic engraved, and also here Sending Ravens. Really, really cool. So check that out on ascensionorganites.com is a website. Thank you, Carla, for donating these beauties tonight for the audience members. I'll try to bring up a video also. I have a video of these candles so you can see what they look like from side to side here. But let's give away. So what do you want to do? Do we want to give it away? Let's give away one at a time here. We'll ask a question, Meg. And while we look for answers there, I'll also try to bring up the video so people can see how these actually look. But they're really belle. Nathalie Lavoie says, elles sont belles. They're very beautiful. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they're really nice.
So let me bring up the live chat. There you go. So you want to do maybe an astrology question, a timing question for the audience? We'll give away the first one here. Let's give away the Beyond Mystic candle first. What would be your question?
What would be my question? Okay. What is the planet that is exactly conjunct the sun of Canada in Canada's chart?
Planet that is exactly conjunct the sun of Canada.
The sun of Canada, which makes it the weirdest country in the world.
Meaning it's unpredictable, right?
Unpredictable. It's going to flip. It's not going to go how we think it's going to go. So it's like about surrendering and just, okay, we're just going to go with the flow of it.
Yeah.
Right. But also going towards freedom. This planet also represents freedom and to cut ties with things taking our power away.
Okay. So while we wait for that to populate in the live chat, Meg, if you want to write that on the side just to make sure I have the right answer to scan for as well. So guys, that's the video that Carla sent me earlier today. Look at that. Isn't that cool?
Beautiful.
Like, I love these. Yeah. And so this one, the scent, I have to say this one. I love this. Tobacco, vanilla, and bergamot. Like, this is going to be
wow.
I love that. So that's the Beyond Mystic one. And let's go to the live feed again here too. And we'll try to pick a winner. Let's see if we can get to that. Present your screen. There you go. This one here. Okay. So Meg, let me know when you want me to stop the chat.
Okay, stop.
All right. Vanchick01. Uranus. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Vanchick, you're the winner. Congratulations. So if you go to beyondmystic.net, top of the page, send us a tech support form. Let us know you're the winner of this candle for tonight, and we'll get Carla to send that out to you. Next, of course, is the Ascending Ravens one. There you go. So, hold on. Let me change that for you guys. There you go. So do you have a question now, Meg, for the Ascending Ravens candle?
For the Ascending Ravens candle. What? Okay, I'll do another astrology question, maybe. What? Because I can't think of any other kind of question. What sign is the planet Uranus going to be entering in Western astrology on July 7th, which is going to really change the vibe and help things move forward really fast.
Okay, so ask the beginning of the question again. What sign?
What astrological sign is the planet Uranus entering starting on July 7th?
Okay. I want to write that on the side for me. And guys, this is the video here, the beautiful candle. And what's this? Sandalwood. Hold on. Let me try to get that screenshot. Sandalwood, patchouli, and clove. Oh, yeah. This one, too, is absolutely amazing. Okay, so let me go to the live chat here. See if I can change screen for this one. So remove. Yes, excellent. Let's go back to this one. A lot of stuff going on tonight here. There you go. Okay, so I think I'm on the right one. There you go. At the screen. Why is that not working? This one? Do I have to do this? It's doing that same thing again. Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Okay, so let me go to the bottom of the chat here. Wait first. And then, yeah, let me know when you want me to stop.
Stop.
Okay. Rosie Thorne, 8847, Gemini. That's correct, right?
Yes.
All right. Rosie Thorne, congratulations. You're the winner of the Ascending Ravens candle. So if you go to beyondmystic.net, top of the page, just send us an email there and we'll get that to you. And last but not least, we're giving away this beautiful Ascension Organized Pyramid Protection, the beginner series tonight also here. So I'll ask the question for this one. So in that chart that I showed from Cliff High with the emotional data graph for this year, which month was the 102 emotional value on? Which month was the 102 emotional values on? So if you were paying attention in the beginning of the show, you'll be the winner here. All right. So while we wait for that to populate also, I just want to remind you guys to please consider checking out the new Coffee and Chats with the Beyond Mystic team here on the Academy. This is a weekly call, half an hour with all of our teammates here, one after the other. Of course, we're doing this on rotation on our schedule to where you guys can get to ask questions one-on-one. We could talk about where things are going and where Beyond Mystic is going, how we're adding products, and taking in your input also to make our products even better on the site. But generally speaking, also just a wealth of information from all the people you see on the screen there, being able to access them, whether that's, how to get through getting out of the matrix and getting into the woo, questions like that, and just, going through some of your struggles and maybe taking the benefit of the experience of the people on the screen there to you. So there's a lot of value to that. And it's a tight community. It's a smaller group. And it's really fun. Have you had the opportunity to do your coffee and chat yet, Meg?
I have, yeah. A couple of weeks ago.
How'd that go?
It was nice. People really enjoyed the time together and people making new friends in there from, meeting people in their local area or in the same country. So really good for us to be connecting with like-minded community, and good way to do it in the coffee and chats.
Yeah. And I think eventually also it'll lead to this came out, of course, of the conference where Janine and I were having conversations, sitting on stage, kind of like in a coffee and chat mode. And everybody's like, dude, you guys should do this every week. Like, this is great, right? So we kind of had the opportunity to share a little bit more on the private side of things, how we got to where we are today, our trials, our tribulations, and hopefully people can, get benefit from all of that. And they said, yeah, we'd love to be part of these chats here on a weekly basis. So check it out, guys. It's available now on the beyondmystic.academy page. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. So let's go back here and look at the screen. So let me know when you want me to stop the feed here, Meg.
Okay, stop.
My cursor is on Jackie D 28 October. That's correct. That is the month with the high emotional peak of values. Congratulations, Jackie. Again, if you go to beyondmystic.net and you go to the top of the page here at the About section, just fill out the tech support form here and let us know you're the winner. While you're there, check out the schedule for the week. Lots of great shows here coming up. I'm not sure about the Wacky Woo on the Sunday. I'm not sure if Coco's confirmed that or not, but anyways, by tomorrow, it should be on the screen there, so go check it out to see what's coming up in the next couple of days. So, Meg, before we go, was there something else? I have quite a few more things on. I wanted to talk to you about the Pope, too, this whole, there's too many things happening at the same time. I don't know. We want to talk about Alberta. Okay, choose a segment from you here. If there's anything burning right now you want to talk about, let's get into that first, and then we'll round it up and maybe give you more advice before we go.
Anything burning?
Burning.
I don't even know. I feel like there's so much. And is there anything burning for you? I'm excited for the P. Diddy trial. I feel like that's going ahead. I hope Justin Bieber survives. Sorry, my Scorpio's coming through, but I have this weird psychic feeling that he might be getting killed. I don't want that to be the case at all, but I feel like there's going to be so much drama, so much outing with that trial, and it's about to start.
Somebody says, what's burning? Blue Flame says, the Pope is burning. Yeah, probably. And you know, it was funny because when they brought him out on the casket, they had this black, like, kind of bruise. It was like, what the hell just happened there? Like, they, you know, and Cliff High says, yeah, because he fell and he died months ago. And this is the bruises because he was in the freezer for a couple of months and they just brought him out now to say he died. That's part of it, probably, most likely. Like, it's a crazy story, man.
It's nuts.
My God. Yeah. Okay, well, let's leave it at that. There's more, of course, and we'll be back in the next couple of days with more shows. I think that's a good show for tonight. We did quite a good. So let's end on this. What it appears to be between the emotional values on the chart and the erratic, unconventional nature and surprises that might be hitting us. It's kind of hard to map a terrain when you don't know what to expect, right? So, for example, in the last 4 or 5 years of COVID, we kind of knew where the shots were coming from. We kind of knew every fall season, the mask season, so we knew, we kind of knew how to navigate this stuff because we knew where things were coming from. It feels like this year, we have no fucking idea where anything's going to come from, whether that's the ETs, the financial stuff, the Diddy stuff, all of the above, people going berserk and, zombies on this,
right?
So to speak. It's kind of weird. Like, people are asking me, well, how do I navigate this year? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I know a big part of it is maybe taking a step back, making sure I'm prepped, I'm ready, maybe watching it from afar, not taking it personally, spending a lot more time in nature, a lot less time, in front of these devices. I think that would be good advice. But what do you say? Like, is there something in the astrology also that is conducive to a specific energy on how to navigate these times ahead of us? And I'll say the next 6 months for now.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Well, when it comes down to it, especially with astrology, there's so many different layers to it. And if I could just bring up a chart, JC, just for a moment to show people in the chart, different astrologers work differently. But for me, when it comes down to it, the most important thing in the current astrology is what we call the North Node, which is the calculated point where the solar eclipses happen every 6 months. And the North Node represents whatever sign it's in at the current time is our current focus, our current purpose, our North Star, if you will. That's what my mom calls it.
Yeah.
So right now, since the end of January, and we'll have it until, I believe, July 2026, the North Node is in Pisces. And Pisces is the last sign in astrology. It's spirituality. It's spiritual practices, it's prayer, it's meditation, it's sacred sites. So what can we do during these times is, yes, we want to be grounded. Okay, we don't want to be airy-fairy. The dark side of Pisces is to be completely not grounded at all. It's that balance between being here physically, but also opening up spiritually, raising your vibration, whether you do that through prayer, meditation, going out in nature, spiritual development. If you're watching Beyond the News, if you're a regular listener, you're probably doing that on a regular basis. Pisces is also sound healing. So I would say, remember your spirituality. And like you said, JC, at a certain point, we need to turn the screens off because there's only so much information we can take in one day. And we need to do things that feed our soul. So I think it's good to ask yourself what feeds your soul, what makes you feel like you're in a high vibration. For each of us, that's different things. Do you want me to pull some cards on that too?
Sure.
Okay.
Nathalie Lavoie saying also breath work here too. Yeah, whether it's that, the breath work, you guys go check it out. There's products on the Academy. Also, Meg just launched a new part 2 of opening up the psychic senses with Janine.
Yep.
If you're feeling that these are coming up inside of you and you don't know how to manage them yet, go check out those workshops. There's a lot there for you. And of course, this is, I think, the navigating of this crazy world becomes better and better the more you're listening to universe and the more that you're in tune with your own psychic senses. So that part of the workshop is so critical right now for anyone. And you don't need any prerequisites, but listening to the success stories and the life experiences of both Meg and Janine on that front might help you tap into all of that for yourself. And then you become that light and that way shower, not just for yourself in your life, but also for your friends and family. So check out those workshops. Also, a great point, Natalie, also in the chat. All right, so let's pull some cards here. Well, how specifically did you frame the question?
Yeah, I just asked, what does the universe want us to know at this moment in regards to where to focus our energy, like you said?
Okay, very good.
And that's interesting because we got a very kind of Piscean card. I talked about the North Node being in Pisces. Temperance, which is healing. It's a card about healing and healing energies. And also the Queen of Swords with it, which is about mental acuity, clarity, learning new things, intelligence. So I feel like this is a time where, and I know this is something, okay, we talk about it, but it's a lot harder to actually do it. Like, this is actually time to do a healing course, or to maybe see an energy healer on a regular basis, to maybe learn new, Queen of Swords, learn new information about different ways to heal. Okay, for each of us, we're all different. So maybe you've taken a Reiki course, maybe you've taken emotional codes. I mean, there's so many different things, JC, but that hasn't helped you with whatever it is you've got coming up to the surface. We've got the Emperor reversed, because a huge theme right now is where our power has been taken away. It's very important for us to find healing modalities to deal with the places that we took our power away, so that we can become the upright emperors, right? Aries card, the warrior, the way shower, the pioneer, to be fearless, to be activated, to be energized, moving ahead, moving forward. So this is a huge time of healing. And again, for different people, that will be different things. For me personally, I love QHHT. I do that a couple times a year. And that's my time, a couple times a year, where I go really deep and I go into huge like healing mode. And I take a few days around whenever I do that and just kind of take off and integrate. For everybody, it's different kind of things, right?
You know what I've added recently? So, of course, I work out, I'm big on all these supplements. I try to sleep better. I meditate, all these things. And somebody's saying, yeah, go check out Jansen's meditation. Yes, those are really good too on the Academy. And somebody's saying, hey, I'm looking forward to this. Is it this Sunday, the Psychic Senses?
This Sunday, the Psychic Senses. Yeah.
Oh, great. So people can still register and go live with you guys. Okay, let me bring that poster back up.
Chào em. Người con gái tôi yêu, hãy luôn sống vui vẻ nhé. Tôi muốn nụ cười luôn ở trên môi em. Tại cổng khách sạn, em nhìn lên các công phòng cô lần nữa, rồi vẫy xe ra sân bay. Giật mình thức giấc, nhìn đồng hồ đã là 1 giờ chiều. Khi An ngồi dựa vào tường, điện thoại nhấc máy liên tục. Tôi với tay mở ra thì có rất nhiều tin nhắn của Cao Phong. Cô không đọc, bỏ điện thoại xuống rồi ra khỏi giường vào nhà tắm. Nhìn mình qua gương, tôi đưa tay vỗ lên mặt. Trông mặt mình đẹp quá. Thế này mà vẫn có người thích được. Không biết mắt cậu ta có làm sao không nữa. Vào thay quần áo thì Cao Phong gọi tới, nhưng cô ấn từ chối. Giờ này ba mẹ đang đi chơi rồi mà cô lại lười đi, nên gọi cho lễ tân khách sạn đặt đồ ăn lên tận phòng. Vừa ăn vừa mở điện thoại ra đặt tin tức, lại có tin nhắn tin của Cao Phong. Định xóa hết đi nhưng vô thức, cô lại nhấn đọc hết cả 100 tin ấy. Cô chỉ nhắn lại một tin: dù đã có duyên gặp mặt nhưng không có tình, hãy tập trung vào việc học để nổi tiếng, đừng quá quan tâm đến vấn đề khác. Tôi sẽ vẫn thực hiện lời hứa với cậu, nhưng chúng ta chỉ bắt đầu khi cậu quên việc yêu tôi. Giữa chúng ta chỉ có tình bạn mà không hiểu có tình yêu. Nếu cậu còn nhắn tin yêu đương thì e rằng tôi sẽ trở thành người thất hứa đấy. Đừng làm phiền tôi trong những ngày nghỉ nữa. Cô ấn cười đi, nhưng trong lòng lại không thấy thoải mái chút nào. Trái tim cô đau đớn, kêu vào theo một ý chí khác. Nhìn quanh phòng, đầu đầu tôi cũng thấy bóng anh đang cười. Nào, tôi sấy tóc cho cậu nhé. Tự dưng lại nhảy miệng cười một mình, làm Thu giật mình bừng tỉnh. Cố gắng ăn nốt lát bánh mì còn dở. Xong cô gọi một chai lên uống. Càng uống, đầu óc càng trở nên hồ đồ, ánh mắt thì nhòe đi. Nhưng hình ảnh anh thì cứ xuất hiện rõ nét. Anh xuất hiện quanh quẩn trong phòng và luôn là nụ cười ấm áp nhìn cô. Uống hết chai rượu, cô bò lên giường nằm, tay miết xuống ga giường, cảm nhận hơi ấm và mùi hương của anh vẫn còn vương trên giường. Cô bật cười thành tiếng, nhưng nước mắt lại thi nhau rơi xuống. Các bạn thân mến, các bạn vừa nghe xong tập 7 của bộ truyện ngôn tình dài kỳ rất hay có tên Yêu Anh Là Cả Trời Bão Giông của tác giả Dương Cầm. Để có thể tiếp tục đón nghe tập truyện mới tiếp theo, các bạn hãy nhớ đăng ký kênh Truyện Thanh Mai và nhấn vào chuông thông báo, cũng như like và chia sẻ để mọi người cùng nghe chuyện nhé. Cảm ơn các bạn. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại. Xin kính chào tất cả các bạn khán thính giả đang theo dõi trên kênh Truyện Thanh Mai. Trong khung giờ phát sóng quen thuộc hôm nay, mời các bạn cùng đến với tập 8 của bộ truyện ngôn tình rất lôi cuốn có tên Yêu Anh Là Cả Trời Bão Giông của tác giả Dương Cầm. Ngay sau đây mời các bạn cùng lắng nghe tập 8 của bộ truyện này nhé. Để có thể đón nghe những tập truyện mới tiếp theo, các bạn hãy nhớ đăng ký kênh Truyện Thanh Mai và nhấn vào chuông thông báo, cũng như like và chia sẻ để mọi người cùng nghe chuyện nhé. Cảm ơn các bạn. Chúc các bạn nghe chuyện vui vẻ. Có trong phòng không con? Ba đẩy cửa vào đi, con không khóa mà. Lóc móc bỏ dậy. Chẳng biết uống xong cô ngủ lúc nào, khóe mắt cay cay. Cô dụi mặt vào gối. Nào con bé này, sao ngủ giờ này con? Ba ngồi xuống giường xoa đầu cô. Cô xả vào lòng ba thổi thị. Ngày xưa ba yêu mẹ nhiều lắm phải không? Sao hôm nay tự dưng lại hỏi chuyện này? Con và cô Đức có chuyện gì sao? Không ạ, con chỉ ngưỡng mộ ba thôi. Ba đã làm tất cả những gì có thể cho mẹ. Và hôn lên trán chị An thủ thỉ. Vì yêu con người ta trở nên mạnh mẽ con gái. Dù có khổ đau, thậm chí là chết đi, thì người ta vẫn muốn bảo vệ người mình yêu và chỉ muốn nhìn người mình yêu hạnh phúc. Con có chuyện gì nào? Chồng con tệ quá đấy. Để mẹ nhìn thấy bộ dạng này là con bị đánh đấy. Chị An ngồi thẳng dậy. Sao ba mẹ lại về giờ này? Không ăn vận tới lãng mạn hay đi dạo phố nữa hả? Con tắm rửa quần áo đi rồi đi ăn. Mẹ lo mình con sẽ không ăn gì, nên bảo về đưa con đi ăn đấy. Con đã phá hỏng không gian hạnh phúc của ba rồi. Ông vỗ má con gái rồi đứng lên ra khỏi phòng. Chị An đưa ánh mắt sợ sệt nhìn mẹ đề nghị với ba. Hôm nay ba uống rượu với con nhé. Ba nhìn mẹ âu yếm. Lâu rồi không uống nhỉ? em cho ba con anh uống nhé. Được rồi, nhưng anh không uống được nhiều đâu đấy. Sức khỏe anh không cho phép uống rượu. Mẹ chửi ba nên mọi người phục vụ tới. Dì anh chọn một chai, dọn xong. Cô ngồi tay chống cằm nhìn ba mẹ. Đã mấy chục năm rồi nhưng họ vẫn thật hạnh phúc. Ánh mắt mẹ cứ long lanh khi nhìn ba. Liệu cô và Cao Phong chợt giật mình lắc đầu xua đi ý nghĩa vừa mới xuất hiện. Ba đẩy cốc rượu về phía cô. Con làm gì mà mặt nghệt ra thế? Dạ con đang ngưỡng mộ ba mẹ đấy. Nào con mời ba. Cô nâng cốc rượu vào cốc ba rồi uống hết. Mẹ nhăn mặt nóng. Con xem con kìa. Con gái mà uống rượu như vậy tại sao ế đến bây giờ không ai chịu rước? Thôi mà em, để cho nó uống. Ba nhìn mẹ vỗ vai rồi lại rót tiếp vào cốc. Khi đã hết chai thứ hai thì cô nhìn ba mẹ đã không còn rõ mặt nữa. Rượu này hôm nay mạnh quá hay là rượu giả vậy? Con mới uống đã say rồi. Giọng cô lẹ nhẹ dựa đầu vào vai ba. Nhìn cô nói lung tung, tự dưng mẹ nổi giận. Con say rồi đấy. Có chuyện gì mà lại đòi uống nhiều thế? Và cô khóc vai hai mẹ con trấn an. Nhưng giọng cũng đã nhẹ nhẹ say. Uống là phải say thì mới ngon, em không biết gì cả. Mẹ cho con chai nữa nhé. Cô lắc lư chai rượu đã hết. Miệng que tách cười. Nhìn bộ dạng của cô lúc này đúng là đang thất tình. Sao lúc chia tay tổ chức cô lại không buồn như thế nhỉ? Tự dưng lại bật cười như một kẻ ngớ ngẩn. Mẹ cóng khi thấy bộ dạng của cô. Ôi, đi về. Nhìn hai bố con xem có mất mặt không. Ngồi đây nói năng lung tung người ta cười cho bây giờ. Mẹ gọi người thanh toán rồi dùng hai con con đứng lên. Cô đứng lên bước đi siêu vẹo, chẳng đi nổi đường thẳng mà cứ đi bên này lại bèo sang bên kia. Cô chợt nhớ đến Cao Phong. Nếu anh có ở đây thì cô sẽ không phải đi rồi. Mắt thì mờ mờ, đầu mải nghĩ linh tinh nên cô mông cả vào cái cây ven đường. À, sao ai lại cứng thế này? Tránh ra cho tôi đi nào. Và cô lại gần gỡ tay cô ra. Nào đi với ba, con say quá rồi.